Chapter 1792. The Old Tree and Azura Ghost Lord were only 9th grade celestial lords, so the monster dragon emperor didn't care about them. His target was Yixian, but that was because Yixian had put Luoluo away. Now his target was Luoluo. However, as the battle continued, more and more injuries appeared on his body. Roar! At this moment, the monster dragon emperor suddenly roared at the sky. Oh no, he's going to transform. Yixian's expression changed drastically. He hurriedly transmitted his voice. The monster dragon emperor was already so difficult to deal with in his human form. If he transformed into his true form, wouldn't he be even stronger? However, Luoluo and Little Monkey still couldn't stop the monster dragon emperor from transforming into his true form. Suddenly, a silver-gray sky dragon appeared before everyone's eyes. The monster dragon emperor's true form was an iron-faced dragon supremacy, which was the same level as the supremacy red dragon. However, he was known for his defense. No wonder he was so durable. This was going to be troublesome. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. The iron-faced dragon supremacy waved his hand and grabbed at Luoluo. Humph! Luoluo only snorted in the face of this shocking claw and quickly dodged. However, at this moment, he suddenly saw some figures flying over from the horizon. There were 15 of them in total, and all of them were men in golden armor. When they saw Luoluo's true form and the iron-faced dragon supremacy, they trembled violently. It's the monster dragon emperor. The 15 dragon guards were shocked, but they could clearly feel the death chi emitted from the iron-faced dragon supremacy. It seemed that the iron-faced dragon supremacy had been controlled by the 9 Abyss Emperor. Go protect Princess Luoluo. The 15 dragon guards, who were 8th grade demon venerables, immediately rushed forward. On the other side, Yixian couldn't help but be overjoyed when he saw this. Just now, the immortal dragon emperor had shaken off the dragon guards and even eliminated the traitor. Now, these 15 people should be his trusted aides. Luoluo, Little Monkey, and these 15 dragon guards could definitely kill the iron-faced dragon supremacy. Whoosh! All 15 dragon guards transformed into their true forms. They were all 5-clawed golden dragons. Under the golden light, the iron-faced dragon supremacy's armor began to melt. It wasn't very effective, but it was enough for Little Monkey to break through its defense. Gotcha! The Little Monkey, who was wearing the mystic divine battle armor, aimed at the head of the iron-faced dragon supremacy and smashed it into pieces. At the same time, the 15 dragon guards also joined the battle and launched a group attack. The 18 dragon guards of the immortal dragon emperor were all elites. If they joined forces, they would be comparable to the immortal dragon emperor. Although there were only 15 of them, their strength was not to be underestimated. With the addition of Luoluo and the Little Monkey, the iron-faced dragon was immediately beaten to the point where it threw away its armor and fled. Chase! Taking advantage of this opportunity, Yixian immediately gave Luoluo and Little Monkey an order. He had to take advantage of this opportunity to pursue and capture this supreme iron-faced dragon. Within the rising dragon city. What? The monster dragon emperor was actually forced to flee? The Yellow Springs sovereign and the 7 Kills Daoists were shocked. One had to know that when the monster dragon emperor maintained his human form, his strength was not weaker than theirs. After transforming into his true form, his strength was already stronger than both of them. However, he was actually beaten to the point of turning around and running away. It was simply inconceivable. It's that Little Monkey. The Yellow Springs sovereign and the 7 Kills Daoist looked at the sky-splitting divine ape at the same time. They felt that the sky-splitting divine ape was extremely powerful. It was only a 9th grade demon emperor, but it was able to launch such a powerful attack. The dragon guards are back. Let's go. The Yellow Springs sovereign and the 7 Kills Daoist discussed telepathically and decided to retreat first. If there were only a few blood dragon guards, they would not be afraid. However, with the addition of the 15 8th grade demon venerables, it was impossible. Retreat. Thinking of this, the Yellow Springs sovereign and the 7 Kills Daoist turned around and left. Do you think the immortal world is a place where you can come and go as you please? Suddenly, an old voice sounded. Then, a white-robed elder suddenly descended from the sky. The Yellow Springs sovereign and the 7 Kills Daoist looked up and almost peed their pants. Cyan Emperor? Both of them were shocked. The Cyan Emperor was one of the 2 giants of the immortal world. and his strength had reached the level of a second-grade immortal emperor. It was because of him that the underworld did not dare to attack the immortal world. However, the Yellow Spring Sovereign and the Seven Kills Taoist quickly reacted. This Cyan Emperor was not his original body, but a projection. Humph, so what if it's the Cyan Emperor? He's just a projection. Do you think he can keep the two of us here? The Yellow Springs Sovereign snorted. If he can't do it, what if I join in? Another voice sounded. However, this time it was a gentle voice. The Yellow Springs Sovereign and the Seven Kills Taoist glanced over and saw another projection. Wu-ho! Even Wu-ho was here. Ha ha ha! Although you have sealed off the communication and teleportation circles around the Rising Dragon City, don't forget that I just left the Rising Dragon City. The Immortal Dragon Emperor suddenly laughed. Just now he had noticed this suspicious point, so he quickly turned into his original body and left the vicinity of the Rising Dragon City. He also sent a message to the Cyan Emperor and Wu-ho. Suppress them. Although the Cyan Emperor and Wu-ho were only projections, one of them was a second-grade immortal emperor while the other was a first-grade immortal emperor. Their strength was not something the Yellow Springs Sovereign and the Seven Kills Taoist could compare to. The two of them attacked at the same time. In an instant, the Yellow Springs Sovereign and the Seven Kills Taoist felt immense pressure, and their speed dropped drastically. This was going to be troublesome. Cyan Emperor Wu-ho! Are you really going to protect the Dragon City? The Yellow Springs Sovereign shouted anxiously when he saw that things were not going well. I don't need you to question what I do. Today, I will use your death to warn the 9 Netherworld Emperor not to be too arrogant. The Cyan Emperor's voice entered the ears of the Yellow Springs Sovereign and the Seven Kills Taoist. It seemed like they would not be able to escape today. The 9 Netherworld Emperor will take revenge for us. The Yellow Springs Sovereign's voice resounded through the 9 heavens. Unfortunately, this threat was not enough to stop them from being killed. With the suppression of the Cyan Emperor and Wu-ho's projections, the Yellow Springs Sovereign and the Seven Kills Taoist were finally killed by the Immortal Dragon Emperor and the Red Dragon Emperor. As for the Monster Dragon Emperor, his death chi was worn away and he turned into a corpse. The battle was won. Thank you, Cyan Emperor and Wu-ho, for your help. After the Yellow Springs Sovereign and the Seven Kills Taoist were killed, the Immortal Dragon Emperor quickly expressed his gratitude. Don't worry about it. This time, we have killed 2 of the top generals of the 9 Netherworld Emperor and the 100 Ghosts Palace Lord. We will definitely be able to rest for a while. The Cyan Emperor waved his hand. This battle was definitely worth it. Although it was a little shocking, the underworld had lost 2 9th-grade Ghost Sovereigns. After saying that, the Cyan Emperor and Wu-ho's projections disappeared. If they did not attack, they could maintain this state for a long time. However, they did not have enough time to suppress the Yellow Springs Sovereign and the Seven Kills Taoist. Chapter 1793. Huff huff. The Immortal Dragon Emperor and the Red Dragon Emperor heaved a sigh of relief after the Green Emperor and Empress Wu left. This time they had almost been destroyed here. Fortunately, the Demon Dragon Emperor had gone to capture Luoluo. Otherwise, if he had joined the battle here, neither the Immortal Dragon Emperor nor the Red Dragon Emperor would have been able to fight 1 against 2. Fortunately, this time it was only a close call, but they had also killed 2 9th-grade Ghost Venerables of the underworld. Was it Little Monkey that held back Master just now? At this time, the Red Dragon Emperor finally reacted. Squeak squeak. The sky-breaking divine ape took off its mystic divine armor and squeaked twice, which meant, if it was not me, who else could it be? It was only a 9th-grade demon royal now. If it had been a demon venerable earlier, the iron-faced dragon supremacy would have been blown apart by it. Unfortunately, it had 2 days less time. In just a few days, Little Monkey has broken through from the 7th-grade demon royal to the 9th-grade demon royal. Could it be Yixian's credit? The Immortal Dragon Emperor and the Red Dragon Emperor thought at the same time. However, they still had many things to do, so they did not ask much. They only sent some dragon guards to protect Yixian and the others. Chapter 1794. What? You want to go to the monster realm? The Immortal Dragon Emperor asked in surprise. Luoluo is a 4th-grade monster venerable now. Her strength is far beyond the 2 seniors. With the help of the Little Monkey, it won't be a problem for me to go to the underworld, Yixian said. The Immortal Dragon Emperor hesitated. Although that was what he said, the contract between Yixian and Luoluo was a master-servant contract. If Yixian accidentally died, wouldn't Luoluo die too? Senior, don't worry. I'm 100% confident that I can take back the monster realm this time. When the time comes, we can even go to the underworld, Yixian continued. If that's the case, I'll have to discuss it with Emperor Qing and Empress Wu, the immortal dragon emperor said. Senior, if you don't believe me, why don't we fight? Yixian suddenly suggested. Fight? The immortal dragon emperor was stunned. He didn't understand what Yixian meant. It's not that I don't believe in the two seniors' strength, but the old tree and Azura Ghost Lord are too powerful. If you can beat them, I'll give up on the idea of going to the monster realm. Yixian said. You want to challenge me? The immortal dragon emperor was even more surprised. Although he wasn't a monster emperor, he was infinitely close to it. Coupled with the bloodline of the five-clawed golden dragon, he wasn't someone that ordinary people could fight against. Not to mention challenging someone of a higher level. Alright, let's give it a try. The immortal dragon emperor nodded. He agreed because Yixian had done a lot of miracles recently. Luoluo had only refined the heavenly monster heart for a short while, but she had already broken through to the 4th grade monster venerable. The little monkey even had the strength to fight the monster dragon emperor. It was too terrifying. All of this had to do with Yixian. Yixian, the immortal dragon emperor, and the red dragon emperor went to the battle dragon platform. Along the way, they attracted a lot of onlookers. These people didn't understand what Yixian and the others wanted to do. Old Tree, Ghost Lord Azura, which one of you wants to go? Yixian transmitted his voice. Tisk tsk tisk, I'll do it. Challenging the leader of a tribe should be very satisfying. Old Tree grinned and transmitted his voice to Yixian. Although he was only a 3rd grade immortal venerable now, his strength was extremely shocking. Don't forget that he still had the profound divine battle armor. Wearing the mystic god battle armor, even if it was the immortal dragon emperor and the red dragon emperor, he would still be able to beat them up. Brat, come. The immortal dragon emperor said to Yixian. In the next moment, the old tree donned the mystic god battle armor that Wei Zhentian had transformed into. Then, a nether fire clone flashed onto the battle dragon platform. What? A rank 3 demon venerable is challenging the dragon emperor? Heavens, Lord Dragon Emperor has been challenged by someone who is at a higher level than him. Furthermore, it is someone who is at least 6 levels above him. What's going on? I must be dreaming. The surrounding people were shocked, but they couldn't be blamed. After all, this was the first time they had seen such a thing. In fact, although the bloodline of the old tree and Azura Ghost Venerable was not as strong as the heavenly loathsome fox, they were definitely stronger than the 5-clawed golden dragon and the supreme red dragon. Coupled with the mystic god battle armor, what was the point of challenging someone who was at least 6 levels above him? Go. Without waiting for the immortal dragon emperor to speak, Yixian gave the order to the old tree. In an instant, the old tree crossed a large distance and used the nether fire clone to flash behind the immortal dragon emperor. So fast. The immortal dragon emperor was shocked. He quickly turned around and threw out a punch. Bang! With this punch, the two of them were evenly matched. Although he had the mystic god battle armor, the old tree's cultivation realm was still too low. Moreover, the immortal dragon emperor was one of the 2 leaders of the dragon domain. How could it be so easy to deal with him? Again, the old tree's eyes flashed and immediately cast the nether fire clone. There were a total of 9 nether fire clones, and they surrounded the immortal dragon emperor instantly. As long as the old tree did not dodge, the immortal dragon emperor would not know which one was the real one. Whoosh whoosh. Suddenly, the immortal dragon emperor heard a gust of wind. His body trembled and he turned around and threw out another punch. Bang! The immortal dragon emperor and the old tree clashed again. It was still a draw. However, the old tree's strength had already surprised the immortal dragon emperor. After all, he was 6 levels higher than the old tree. Looks like I have to show some strength. The immortal dragon emperor's eyes flashed and his body enlarged instantly. His true form was the 5-clawed golden dragon emperor. You have a true form, so do I. The old tree's eyes widened when he saw the immortal dragon emperor transform into his true form. The old tree was also part of the demon tribe. His true form was the Yanming Ghost Lord. However, the transformed old tree was slightly suppressed by the immortal dragon emperor's golden light. Fortunately, the old tree had the mystic divine armor. Otherwise, the old tree would be suppressed by at least 1 or 2 levels. The two of them transformed into their true forms and started fighting in the air. Yinming Soul-Locking Chain. Yinming Soul-Locking Tablet. Yinming Soul-Breaking Strike. The old tree used all his trump cards and fought fiercely against the immortal dragon emperor. The people below were excited to see the battle. They were all guessing what kind of Zuyuis the old tree was. How could he fight against the immortal dragon emperor? Terrifying, this is too terrifying. On the other side, the red dragon emperor wiped the cold sweat off his forehead when he saw the battle. If it was him, he would not be able to do anything to the old tree. At this thought, he glanced at Luo Luo, who had become a 4th-grade demon venerable. If it was Luo Luo, the immortal dragon emperor would be killed instantly like Tung Qingshan. Yi Xian and the others were strong enough to fight alone. Even the whole dragon field together would not be able to defeat them. It was not impossible for them to go to the demon realm. After all, the little monkey was with them. Alright, that's enough. At this moment, the immortal dragon emperor suddenly roared and transformed into his human form. In fact, the immortal dragon emperor's strength had increased after transforming into his true form. However, his body was too big, and the old tree had 9 netherfire doppelgangers. He could not find a target and could only be beaten up. Therefore, it was better to end the battle early. I can't even defeat him, let alone Luo Luo and the little monkey. I acknowledge your strength. The immortal dragon emperor transmitted his voice to Yi Xian. Shall we go to the demon realm first and kill all the ghost venerables there? Then we will attack the underworld together. Yi Xian asked. In fact, Yi Xian wanted to go to the underworld alone. He only said this because he wanted the immortal dragon emperor and the red dragon emperor to be at ease. Alright, I will inform Emperor Qing and Empress Wu and ask them to attack the underworld together. The immortal dragon emperor nodded. Alright, if that's the case, I will take my leave. Yi Xian cupped his fist at the immortal dragon emperor and the red dragon emperor. As for the passage between the immortal realm and the demon realm, it was in the north of the dragon field. It was the passage that the 9th-grade demon venerable had opened. Chapter 1795. Be careful. The immortal dragon emperor and the crimson dragon emperor reminded. At that moment, Yi Xian directly left the rising dragon city. The location of the passage to the demon realm wasn't far from the rising dragon city. If Old Shu were to bring him along, it would probably only take a day. A day later, Yi Xian arrived at his destination. However, this place was attacked some time ago, so there were corpses everywhere and not even a blade of grass could be found. After searching, Yi Xian found the demon realm passage. It was indeed closed. Ding! The host has discovered a closed demon realm passage. Would you like to open it in reverse? The system prompted. Opening the demon realm passage in reverse requires some immortal grade devouring system, but it was a drop in the bucket for Yi Xian. Ding! Opening the demon realm passage in reverse. This process would not take too long, only half a day. In other words, Yi Xian would arrive at the demon realm in half a day. As for the random quest that was triggered earlier, Yi Xian was given 7 days. Yi Xian was confident that he could complete this quest within 7 days. Half a day later. Ding! The demon realm passage has been opened. The system prompted. Hearing this, Yi Xian squinted his eyes and immediately entered the demon realm passage. Soon he arrived at the demon realm. The demon realm's environment was originally second only to the immortal realm. However, after the demon realm was occupied by the underworld, there was an earth-shattering change. The surroundings were dark, and there were some strange sounds that were more terrifying than the demon realm. However, would Yi Xian be afraid of such things? The previous random mission showed that there were more than 13,000 ghost lords in the demon realm. Although the number was slightly wrong, it was almost there. If Yi Xian wanted to complete this mission, he would have to kill 11,000 of them alone. Of course, this referred to individual kills, including a few of his targets. The old tree, Azura Ghost Lord, Wei Zhentian Luo Luo, and the sky-breaking ape god were also counted as his kills. Old tree, Azura Ghost Lord, you two go alone. Yi Xian said to the two. Alright. The old tree nodded and immediately left. Azura Ghost Lord did the same. As for Wei Zhentian, he transformed into the mystic divine battle armor and put it on Yixian's body. Right now, Yixian was only an 8th grade immortal lord. He was not even an immortal venerable yet. It was still dangerous for him to encounter a high-level ghost venerable. However, if he wore the mysterious divine armor, he would not be afraid of anything. After all, even the indestructible Dragon Emperor could not break through the defense of the mysterious divine armor. The purpose of wearing the mystic divine battle armor was to prevent sneak attacks. Perhaps the 9 Netherworld Emperor or the 100 Ghost Prefect Lord were also in the demon domain. Although Luoluo and Little Monkey were here, he couldn't let his guard down. In the time that followed, Yixian began to search for the Ghost Lords in the demon realm. His goal was to become a 9th grade Ghost Venerable, or even a 1st grade Ghost Venerable. Ever since the demon realm was invaded by the underworld, almost all of the creatures inside had turned into undead creatures. There was a success rate for this transformation. If they were in the underworld, the success rate would be up to 80%. However, this was the demon realm after all, so the success rate was not high. Yixian had heard that there were 2 9th grade Ghost Venerables in the demon realm from the underworld. However, Yixian did not want to find trouble with these 9th grade Ghost Venerables for the time being. After all, even if he killed them, it would only count as 2 heads. Yixian's goal was to eliminate most of the Ghost Venerable level masters and complete the random mission. As Yixian and the rest entered the demon realm, the numbers on the random mission panel decreased bit by bit. At the current speed, they would be able to complete the mission in 3 days at most. After all, although the demon realm had been invaded, some teleportation portals could still be used. However, on the 3rd day after Yixian entered the demon realm, just as he was about to complete the mission, F*CK, what's going on? The number of Ghost Venerable level undead creatures suddenly increased? Yixian's eyes widened as he looked at the numbers on the random mission panel. In the blink of an eye, it had reached 100,000. What is going on? Ding! The underworld has sent 100,000 Ghost Venerables to the demon realm. The system suddenly notified. This time Yixian finally understood. What a tragedy! It seems that the Abyss Emperor and the 100 Ghost Palace Lord are afraid that the demon realm will be taken back, so they sent a large number of death squads. Yixian thought to himself. However, this brought him a lot of trouble. There were only 3 days left. Could he kill 80,000 Ghost Venerables in 3 days and complete the random mission? It seems that I have to find where the underworld army is stationed. Yixian narrowed his eyes slightly. The underworld army must have come through the underworld passage. As long as he found that passage, the underworld army should be nearby. At that time he would wipe them out. At this moment. Ribgu, you said that you sensed a large group of terrifying auras? Yixian's eyes suddenly lit up. He immediately broke through the void and came to the side of the Ghost Venerable Azura. As expected, Yixian also sensed a strong aura spreading from the front. It seemed that he had found the right spot. His luck was good. The underworld is so strong. Even if 2 9th grade Ghost Venerables died, there are still 6 of them. This time the underworld army has arrived. There might be more 9th grade Ghost Venerables. Yixian thought to himself. He estimated that there were at least 4 9th grade Ghost Venerables in the demon realm this time. However, 9th grade Ghost Venerables were nothing in front of him now. Even Luoluo could deal with them, let alone Little Monkey. Let's go and kill them. At that moment, Yixian brought the old tree back and flew north. Along the way, he also saw small groups of the underworld army. Of course, these small groups were all annihilated by him without exception. As he continued to head north, the aura became stronger and stronger. If Yixian was not wearing the mystic divine armor, he would have been so scared that he could not move. Little Monkey, get ready. This time we might be able to fight a big battle, Yixian said to the sky-breaking ape god. However, Yixian did not want to release Little Monkey unless he had no other choice. After all, it was his trump card. Moreover, Little Monkey would fall into a deep sleep every time he fought a big battle. This was very fatal. In less than a day, I will be able to break through again. Why don't I wait until I break through and then start a massacre? Yixian thought to himself. In another day, he would break through to 9th grade Immortal Lord. The Old Tree, Azura Ghost Venerables, Wei Zhentian, and the Sky-Breaking Ape God would all be 4th grade Demon Venerables. At that time, no one in the four realms would be able to stop Little Monkey. Thinking of this, Yixian was a little excited. After all, he had tamed a super monster. However, at this moment, Yixian suddenly sensed something and hurriedly took out a communication magical crystal. Yixian, where are you now? The voice transmission came from Little Demon King, wandering around the demon realm. Why? Chapter 1796. In the next moment, Little Demon King of Chaos's words stunned him. I'm also in the Yao realm. Hearing this, Yixian was shocked. Little Devil was also in the Yao realm? What for? Why are you here? Aren't you going to cultivate to the demon venerable level? Yixian asked in surprise. That's what my master said before. However, my demon realm has joined forces with the underworld. My master brought me and two other demon venerables to the Yao realm, Little Devil said. What? The demon realm and the underworld have joined forces? Yixian's eyes widened. This really wasn't the right time. Of course, he wasn't afraid of the demon realm and the underworld joining forces, but he was afraid that he would encounter Little Devil later. So, your demon realm army is also here? Yixian asked again. Yes, a total of 100,000. All of them are demon venerables. Little Devil nodded. This is attacking the celestial realm from 3 fronts. Yixian rolled his eyes. Let's not talk about this. What are you doing here? Little Devil asked. What else can I do? I'm here to destroy the underworld army on behalf of the celestial realm. Yixian replied casually. This time, it was Little Devil's turn to be shocked. What? You want to destroy the underworld army? Little Devil exclaimed. You've already grown to such a level? At this moment, Yixian turned around and saw the target of the Death Hunt order close at hand. This target was obviously the Little Demon King. Don't worry. When I see the Bloody Moon Demon Venerable later, I'll show mercy, Yixian said. When he said this, the other side fell silent. It had only been a short time since they parted, but Yixian already had the strength to kill a 9th-grade Demon Venerable. If he had known, he wouldn't have taken the Bloody Moon Demon Venerable as his master. This was what Little Devil was thinking at this moment. This was too heaven-defying. Alright, it seems that the underworld is destined to fail. Master has treated me well. I hope you can show mercy. Little Devil said. Then the other 2 demon venerables. Yixian reminded him. I don't know him, Little Devil King of Chaos replied. No one would have thought that the Little Demon King would be able to determine the death of the other 2 9th-grade demon venerables with just a few words. Soon a day had passed. Ding! Host has made a breakthrough and is now a 9th-grade celestial emperor. Ding! Azura Ghost Lord Wei Zhentian Skybreaking Ape God and Yanming Ghostly Lord have broken through. They are now 4th-grade immortal venerables. Not only that, but Luoluo had also broken through to the 5th-grade demon venerable realm. Now, even if Little Monkey did not make a move, Luoluo's strength was enough to dominate the 4 domains. After all, she still had the mystic divine armor. The time had come, so it was time to take action. Let's go. Yixian narrowed his eyes and ordered Old Tree and the others to head towards the target of the death warrant. That was the main camp of the Netherworld and Devil World's armies. Not long after they arrived, what followed was a shocking massacre. Eye of Azura. After Ghost Lord Azura appeared, he immediately used his ultimate move. A gigantic eye appeared in the sky. Ding! Host's killing intent has increased. Ding! Host's killing intent has increased. System notifications rang out one after another. Those who were 4th-grade immortal venerables and below would die as soon as they saw the eye. In an instant, Ghost Lord Azura gathered a large amount of death chi and used the Azura change. On the other side, Yixian also used the slaughter seal and gathered a few more. Immortal slaying sword formation rise. So what if they had a 200,000-strong army? After this battle, not many of them would survive. Who is it? In the center of the Devil World and Underworld's armies, 4 Ghost Venerables and 3 Demon Venerables reacted. Someone actually dared to come here. Could it be from the immortal world? However, when they went out to take a look, they realized that it was not what they had imagined. There were only a few people who had come in, and their cultivation levels were extremely low. 4th-grade Demon Venerables? This cultivation level was like an ant in their eyes. However, it was this cultivation level that caused them to be utterly defeated. Before they could attack, a figure came over. This person was Luo, who was wearing the mystic divine armor. Luo was already a 5th grade demon venerable. With the mystic divine armor, even if she did not transform, it was more than enough to take care of 7 9th grade demon venerables. Of course, Yixian had already asked Luo to show mercy to Bloody Moon demon venerable. As for Yixian himself, he was watching from afar. He was paying attention to Little Demon King's position, so that Old Tree and the others would not accidentally hurt him. Master, let's stop. This time the one who attacked our army is Yixian. Little Demon King transmitted a message to Bloody Moon demon venerable. The latter was shocked. Yixian, is he the friend you brought back that day? Yes. Little Demon King nodded. However, at this moment, Demon God's Claw. Luo reached out with both hands. The 2 hearts were directly shattered. The 2 people who were killed by Luo were 9th grade ghost venerables from the underworld. The underworld lost 2 people in an instant. What? Bloody Moon demon venerable was shocked. At the same time, he realized that Luo's figure passed by him and attacked the 2 demon venerables behind him. Another 2 crisp sounds were heard. When he turned around, he found that the 2 demon venerables had already become corpses, and their eyes were wide open as they fell from the sky. Another instant kill. 7 9th grade demon venerables experts were instantly killed by Luo, leaving only 3 alive. Bloody Moon demon venerable broke out in cold sweat. If Luo had attacked him just now, he would have been the one to die. Could it be that what Chi-Su said was true? Bloody Moon demon venerable paused. Otherwise, why would Luo choose to let him go? The 7 of them joined forces but could not do anything to Luo, and 4 of them were instantly killed. Now that there were only 3 left, they were naturally no match for Luo. In the blink of an eye, the last 2 9th grade ghost venerables from the underworld died almost at the same time. Bloody Moon demon venerable was the only one left. Then Luo suddenly glanced at Bloody Moon demon venerable and said, "Flaming skyfire rain." In the next moment, countless fireballs appeared in the sky and smashed down fiercely. The demonic cultivators and undead creatures suffered heavy casualties. In this battle, the demon world and the underworld were defeated, and thoroughly defeated. In a short while, the demon world army and the underworld army were almost completely killed by the 5 of them. Old Tree, Azura Ghost Venerable, Wei Zhentian, Luo, and Yixian. Not a single one was left. In the surroundings, besides Yixian and the rest, only Chi-Su and Bloody Moon demon venerable were left. Bloody Moon demon venerable, long time no see. At this moment, Yixian suddenly rushed over and smiled at Bloody Moon demon venerable and Chi-Su. It was indeed Yixian. Chapter 1797. Even the 9 Abyss Great Emperor couldn't kill an entire army of 200,000 in such a short period of time. Moreover, Bloody Moon Archfiend felt that Luo's strength was far from this. Yixian should still have some trump cards. All in all, they lost this battle. That's right. My current plan is to eliminate the Netherworld first, then the Demon Realm. Yixian nodded slightly. When he spoke, he looked calm as if he was determined to win. Eliminate the Netherworld and the Demon Realm? Bloody Moon Archfiend rolled his eyes. If that was the case, would there still be a place for him? If the 4 realms became the Immortal Realm and the Demon Realm, what would happen? Master, don't worry. Yixian has his own independent space. It's not any worse than the Demon Realm. At this time, Little Demon King of Chaos suddenly said, "Huh." Bloody Moon Archfiend was shocked. Before he could open his mouth, an energy enveloped him. Before that, the Little Demon King of Chaos had already disappeared. Chi-Su has already gone in, Yixian said. Anyway, Bloody Moon Archfiend was now a prisoner. If he did anything, Luo would definitely dig out his demon heart first. In the next moment, Bloody Moon Archfiend disappeared and appeared in the planting space. In this way, Yixian also solved the problem of Little Demon King, and the master and disciple had a safe place to live. Next, it was the Demon Realm. By the way, the random mission just now has been completed. Wei Zhentian can still keep 1 Dharma treasure. Yixian suddenly thought of something. Immediately, he glanced at the Dharma treasures that had appeared so far. The first Dharma treasure to be kept was the Mystic God Armor. This was a relatively rare Dharma treasure, and it was very easy to use. As for the second Dharma treasure, Yixian naturally wouldn't choose casually. Yixian directly ignored the common Dharma treasures such as the Heavenly Wind Everlasting Fan, Immortal Ascension Steps, and Sky-Splitting Axe. The Soul Refining Pot, I choose you. In the end, Yixian chose one. This soul refining pot could be thrown in corpses, and then refined into soul-generating liquid. This soul-generating fluid could be used to strengthen the physique of Ghost Lord Azura and the old tree. Now, Yixian had 200,000 corpses under his feet. If all of them were refined into soul-generating fluid, the strength of old tree and Azura Ghost Lord would increase significantly. Necromancer Kettle, collect. Yixian immediately asked Wei Zhentian to transform into the Necromancer Kettle, and put all the corpses whose interspatial rings had been taken away into it. It would take some time to refine it. Now that the underworld army and the demonic army had been dealt with, the threat was temporarily removed. However, the underworld and the demon realm might still be plotting to invade the immortal realm. If they were allowed to complete their plan, the immortal world would be attacked by the demon realm, underworld, and devil realm. It would be difficult for the immortal emperor and martial empress to defend the immortal world by themselves. Fortunately, Yixian had already removed this threat. With my current strength, I'm no longer afraid of the 9 Abyss Emperor and the 100 Ghost Palace Lord. When the time comes, I'll just ask Little Monkey to attack and kill the 2 of them instantly. Yixian planned in his heart. It was a pity that news of the great battle had still reached the demon realm and underworld realm. Therefore, Yixian had to kill his way over while they were still in shock. The underworld, huh? Just wait to be destroyed. Yixian's lips curled up slightly. He then passed through the underworld passage and arrived at the underworld. The chi here was more disgusting than the demon realm, but it was nothing to the old tree and Azura Ghost Venerate. The 9 Abyss Emperor and the 100 Ghost Palace Lord are both staying in Heavenly Ghost City. Yixian checked the map of the underworld. After confirming his location, he flew toward Heavenly Ghost City. The underworld, demon realm, immortal realm, and demon realm were all quite large, but they were only large for those with lower cultivation realms. For high-level immortal venerates, the 4 realms weren't considered large. With the old tree leading the way, Yixian would only need 2 days to reach Heavenly Ghost City after exiting the underworld passage. 2 days later would be the day of the underworld's destruction. As long as the 9 Abyss Emperor and the 100 Ghost Palace Lord were dead, the others in the underworld wouldn't be able to cause any trouble. Soon Yixian arrived at the vicinity of Heavenly Ghost City. There are so many experts. Those who live in the city are at least mid-level ghost venerates. Yixian narrowed his eyes. Although it seemed like an army of 100,000 had entered the demon realm through the underworld passage, 90,000 of them were low-level ghost venerates. There were only 100 7th grade and 8th grade ghost venerates. This time, Yixian was going to make a big scene. Old tree Azura Ghost Venerate Luo Luo, let's go! Yixian shouted angrily. In the next moment, the 3 of them charged into Heavenly Ghost City. As for Wei Zhentian, he stayed behind to protect Yixian. The 4th grade Old Tree and Azura Ghost Venerate, as well as the 5th grade Ghost Venerate Luo Luo, were invincible. 7th grade and 8th grade Ghost Venerates were nothing in front of them. Even 9th grade Ghost Venerates couldn't withstand a single blow from Luo Luo. In an instant, a bloodbath broke out in Heavenly Ghost City. Ding! Azura transformation leveled up. You have learned a new skill. Azura Godslayer. Suddenly, Yixian was stunned by the system's notification. The Azura transformation leveled up automatically after absorbing a large amount of death chi. Not bad. Azura Ghost Venerate, Azura Godslayer. Yixian ordered Azura Ghost Venerate to use the new skill it had just learned. Azura Ghost Venerate, who was maintaining the Azura transformation, grew bigger and bigger. The same was true of the saber in his hand. Upon hearing Yixian's order, he slashed forward viciously. Azura Godslayer. A gigantic black slash appeared in the sky. All the experts and undead creatures along the way were killed by this gigantic slash. Even though it didn't hit them directly, this gigantic black slash seemed to want to split the entire Heavenly Ghost City into 2. However, at this moment 2 figures suddenly appeared. Bastard! After a low roar, the Azura Godslayer was suddenly defeated. Yixian immediately turned his head to look and saw 2 figures standing in the sky. This aura belonged to the Ghost Emperor. The 9 Netherworld Emperor and the 100 Ghost Palace Lord had finally appeared. Little monkey, it's time for you to show off. Seeing that the main characters had appeared, Yixian grinned and released the sky-splitting divine ape. The sky-splitting divine ape was now a 4th-grade ghost venerate. Even without the mystic divine armor, it was enough to kill the 9 Netherworld Emperor and the 100 Ghost Palace Lord. However, in order to end the battle faster, Yixian asked Little Monkey to wear the mystic divine armor. Crack! Once Little Monkey was fully dressed, he immediately charged forward. 108 strikes of the rod. The thin iron rod in his hand was smashed by Little Monkey. Instantly, 108 shadows of the rod appeared. Chapter 1798. Bam! 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 The two of them each took half of the rod shadows and fell from the sky. This attack had seriously injured them. Although Little Monkey was strong, the two of them were still the 2 giants of the underworld. How could they die so easily? Taking advantage of their injuries, Little Monkey dashed over again. He raised the thin iron rod above his head and swung it down again. This time all the rod shadows hit one person. That person was the unlucky 100 Ghost Lord. No one in the 4 realms could withstand Little Monkey's attack. Even the 2nd-grade Celestial Emperor, Emperor Qing, could not. The 108 staff shadows all smashed into the 100 Ghost Prefect's body, instantly smashing his body into smithereens. Instant kill. Ding! Host's killing intent has increased. A system notification sounded. Yixian's killing intent had increased tremendously. It seemed that the 100 Ghost Lord had died. What? Old Ghost was instantly killed? On the other side, when the 9 Abyss Emperor saw the 100 Ghost Prefecture Lord's miserable state, he immediately swallowed a mouthful of saliva and quickly turned to leave. Squeak! Little Monkey saw this and immediately raised his hand. Another 108 rod shadows fell and smashed the 9 Abyss Emperor's head. Of course, his heart was also crushed. Another instant kill. The 2 giants of the underworld were killed by Little Monkey in 3 moves. How could they continue? With the 2 giants dead, the rest of the people in the Heavenly Ghost City were nothing to be afraid of. Most importantly, Little Monkey's combat power could help Yixian destroy the people in the Heavenly Ghost City quickly. In less than a minute, the Heavenly Ghost City became a ghost city. Then, all the corpses were taken into the necromancer kettle by Wei Zhantian and refined into soul-generating liquid to strengthen the old tree and the Azura Ghost Lord. At the same time, the underworld was truly destroyed. After this battle, Little Monkey fell into a deep sleep again. However, it did not matter. After all, Little Monkey might not be needed in the demonic realm. The demonic realm had sent out 100,000 troops and 3 demon sovereigns. Now, 2 9th-grade demon sovereigns were killed by Luo Luo. The Bloody Moon demon sovereign was also taken into the planting space by Yixian. This meant that the devil world now had 6 9th-grade devil venerables and a mysterious heaven devil emperor. It was said that this heaven demon emperor was only a 1st-grade demon emperor. For the current Yixian, he was a little troublesome, but not to the point where Yixian was afraid of him. After all, the celestial devil emperor was a demonic cultivator, not an immortal cultivator. Alright, let's take a look around the underworld first. We'll go to the ghost realm after we break through. With that thought in mind, Yixian quickly left Heavenly Ghost City. At the same time, he sent a message to the immortal world's imperishable Dragon Emperor and Crimson Dragon Emperor. The 9 Abyss Great Emperor and the 100 Ghost Palace Lord are dead. The underworld is destroyed. The imperishable Dragon Emperor and the Crimson Dragon Emperor were shocked when they heard the news. Didn't they say they were going to destroy the demon realm? Why did they destroy the underworld as well? Yixian, what's going on? The immortal Dragon Emperor asked anxiously. It's nothing. The 9 Abyss Emperor and the 100 Ghost Palace Lord were too weak. They were killed by the little monkey in 3 hits. Yixian replied. The immortal Dragon Emperor was speechless. They were waiting for Yixian to destroy the demon realm and send a message back. Then they would join forces with Emperor Qing and Empress Wu to attack the underworld together. But now, the 9 Abyss Great Emperor and the 100 Ghost Palace Lord were dead. What was the point of attacking? Alright, I'll go to the Devil Realm again. Then, I'll unify the Monster Realm, Devil Realm, and the Underworld. After saying that, Yixian focused on his journey. However, the immortal world was in chaos. The underworld was destroyed by Yixian and a few others. What was Yixian's background? Wasn't he too monstrous? Even the second great immortal emperor, Emperor Qing, dared not say that he could kill the 9 Abyss Great Emperor and the 100 Ghost Palace Lord. The little monkey was so powerful. It seemed like he was the strongest person in the 4 realms. However, it was fine. If the 4 realms were to form a single immortal world, they would be able to develop together. It would be better than before. A few days later. Ding! Host has broken through. You are now a first grade immortal supremacy. Ding! Yinming Ghost Lord, Azura Ghost Lord, Wei Zhentian Skybreaking Ape God have broken through. You are now a 5th grade immortal supremacy. A few consecutive system notifications rang out. Yixian had finally broken through to the immortal supremacy realm. It wasn't easy. I've finally broken through to the immortal supremacy realm. Yixian squinted his eyes. In the next moment, another system notification rang out in his mind. Ding! Host has learned the 3rd change of the Heavenly Fire 3 Mysterious Change. The 3rd change of the Heavenly Fire 3 Mysterious Change could raise one's cultivation by 3 realms. Yixian was a first grade immortal supremacy now. After using it, he could break through to the 4th grade immortal supremacy realm. Now he was qualified to challenge the 9th level of the Tower of Trials. The guardian of the 9th level of the Tower of Trials was 9 realms higher than Yixian. However, after subtracting the 3 realms of the Heavenly Fire 3 Mysterious Change, there were only 6 realms. Yixian could still handle it. This time, the guardian of the 9th level of the Tower of Trials was an immortal cultivator. Therefore, Yixian's luck was not bad. Although it was a 5-star difficulty, Yixian was best at fighting a battle of attrition. In the end, the first grade immortal emperor cultivator was exhausted to death by Yixian. Ding! Host has passed the 9th level of the Tower of Trials. Ding! Host has obtained 1 Devour point. Now Yixian had 3 Devour points. Ding! Host can use 1 Devour point to unlock the 10th to 19th levels of the Tower of Trials, or accept a refresh mission. At this time, the system notification rang out again. Unlock the 10th to 19th levels of the Tower of Trials, or accept a refresh mission. Yixian squinted his eyes. He could at most challenge the 9th level now. The 10th level required him to surpass 10 realms. He couldn't do that now. As for the refresh mission, the refresh mission is to refresh the 1st to 9th levels after completion. You can challenge it again. When he saw this, Yixian couldn't help but smile. If the refresh mission was successful, then he could challenge the 9th level of the Tower of Trials again. That was 9 Devour points. However, accepting the refresh mission required 1 Devour point. Moreover, he didn't know if it would be difficult. Yixian thought for a while and decided to spend 1 Devour point to take a look. Ding! Host is currently unable to accept the refresh mission. The system notification made Yixian stunned. Temporarily unable to accept? It turned out that the refresh mission had to be triggered. Only after it was triggered could he use 1 Devour point to accept it. If that was the case, then forget it. Okay, now that I have broken through to the Celestial Prime level, I can go directly to the Demon Realm. Yixian thought for a while and then moved again. Chapter 1799. Yixian returned to the Demon Realm through the Demon Realm passage. Last time, he came to find the little Demon King for the refining method of the heavenly demon's heart. This time, however, he came to destroy the Demon Realm. The little Demon King and his master, the Blood Moon Archfiend Sovereign, had already been stored in the planting space. Therefore, Yixian's next plan was to store Baiming Huayu and the others inside before starting the slaughter. Baiming Huayu and the others were in Blood Moon City. Yixian had been to this place before. Coincidentally, the Demon Realm passage was at the Blood Moon Archfiend Sovereign's Demon Spirit Horn. Therefore, Yixian spent half a day to reach Blood Moon City and pick up Baiming Huayu, the Demon King of Chaos, and the others. Then the next step was to start the slaughter. Although I'm a cultivator, I don't belong to any faction. To me, demonic cultivators are no different from immortal cultivators. I just don't need to find an excuse. Yixian thought to himself. In the current Demon Realm, there were 6 demon sovereigns other than the Sky Demon Emperor. However, these demon sovereigns could be dealt with by even Yixian himself, let alone the old tree and Luoluo. He estimated that it would only take a few days to destroy the demon realm. Somewhere in the immortal realm. What? 9 Abyss Emperor and 100 Ghost Palace Lord are dead? Not only is the demon realm reclaimed but even the underworld is destroyed? Emperor Qing and Empress Wu were shocked when they heard the news. Emperor Qing and Empress Wu immediately sent people to open the demon realm passage and the underworld passage to investigate. Soon, they received news that there weren't many dead creatures left in the demon realm and the underworld passage. The news was true. Who is this Yi Xian? He destroyed the demon realm and the underworld passage so easily, and now he's going to the demon realm. The Lotus Emperor couldn't help but gulp. If Yi Xian were to attack the immortal realm, they would probably end up like the Yao realm and the Netherworld realm. Fortunately, Yi Xian had some connections with Dragon Realm. After the demon realm was destroyed, Dragon Realm moved into the immortal realm. Therefore, Emperor Qing was indebted to Dragon Realm. Coupled with the previous battle, Emperor Qing felt that Yi Xian would not do such a thing. The upper echelons of the celestial world gathered for a meeting. At the same time, Yi Xian had dealt with the 6 9th grade demon venerables and was searching for the Heaven Demon Emperor in the demon realm. According to the 9th grade demon venerables, this Heaven Demon Emperor came and went without a trace. Previously, when he joined forces with the 9 Abyss Great Emperor and the 100 Ghost Palace Lord, it was only through the transmission of messages. However, the demon realm was only so big. With such a huge aura, no matter how hard he tried to conceal it, he couldn't hide from Yi Xian and the others. Found it. Yi Xian narrowed his eyes. He had finally found the Heaven Demon Emperor. What? Somewhere in the demon realm, a long-horned man trembled. He turned his head and saw Yi Xian, the old tree, and the others rushing toward him. During this time, he had heard about the deaths of the demon venerables under his command and the destruction of his city. Therefore, at this time, he was opening up a passage to leave and find a place to hide. Unexpectedly, he was still found by Yi Xian. Heaven Demon Emperor, I've finally found you. Yi Xian's voice fell into the Heaven Demon Emperor's ears. The latter looked and saw a golden light coming toward him. Luo Luo, who had broken through to the 6th grade demon venerables, put on the mystic divine armor and charged toward the Heaven Demon Emperor. The Heaven Demon Emperor was only a 1st grade demon emperor. No matter how strong he was, he couldn't stop Luo Luo. Demon God's Claw. Luo Luo reached out with her claw and crushed the Heaven Demon Emperor's demon heart. The Heaven Demon Emperor was dead. Ding! Host's killing intent has increased. A system notification sounded in Yi Xian's mind. Now the demon realm was truly destroyed. In the future, the immortal realm and the demon realm would share the world. No, the Zuyos would be in charge in the future. Because even the Qing Emperor and the Wu Empress couldn't be Luo Luo's match. Now that the demon realm has been taken back and the underworld and the demon realm have been destroyed, the world will be mine from now on. Yi Xian's lips curled up slightly. He would be the master of the 4 realms from now on. However, there was a problem now. The 9 Abyss Emperor, the 100 Ghosts Palace Lord, the Heaven Demon Emperor, the Demon Dragon Emperor, and the Wu Empress are all 1st grade immortal emperors. Only the Qing Emperor is a 2nd grade immortal emperor. Then, how will he level up in the future? Yi Xian couldn't help but think. Since there was a realm, someone must have reached it. Could it be that there were only 4 realms in the world? Forget it. Let's go back to the immortal realm first. After thinking for a while, Yi Xian decided not to think about it. He would go back to the immortal realm first. He immediately found a passage to the immortal realm and returned to the immortal realm. However, things weren't that simple. It only took half a day to return from the passage to the immortal realm, but when Yi Xian returned, he found that there were countless messages in the communication crystals he had devoured. When Yi Xian finished listening to all the messages, he couldn't help but be shocked. What's going on? Another 100 years have passed since I returned from the demon realm? These messages were from the Immortal Dragon Emperor and the Crimson Dragon Emperor. They said that Yi Xian had been missing for a long time. Senior Dragon Emperor, I'm back. Yi Xian quickly replied. Soon, the Immortal Dragon Emperor's voice sounded again. Yi Xian, you're finally back. Senior Dragon Emperor, why is there a time difference between the 2 realms? Yi Xian was very surprised and couldn't help but ask. The time difference is because the space-time relic has appeared. And the entrance is in our immortal realm this time. The immortal dragon emperor replied. Spacetime relic? What's that? Yi Xian asked in confusion. Spacetime relic is actually a spatial continent similar to the demon realm, underworld, demon realm, and immortal realm. It's an extremely dangerous place. Throughout history, many experts have entered it, but only a few have come out alive. After the immortal dragon emperor finished speaking, he paused for a moment before continuing. Every spacetime relic is different. Throughout history, at least 10 immortal emperors have entered the spacetime relic, and 2 of them were second-grade immortal emperors. Even second-grade immortal emperors can't guarantee that they can come out alive? Yi Xian was slightly surprised. Yes. Spacetime turbulence proves that there will be a spacetime relic. This spacetime relic is near Greenwood City. The immortal dragon emperor said. Greenwood City, huh? That's the Cyan Emperor's territory. Yi Xian's eyes narrowed slightly. He was no longer afraid of the Cyan Emperor. However, he didn't lack cultivation resources right now. What he lacked was time. Therefore, he didn't want to plunder the immortal realm anymore. It was good to be a good person once in a while. Very soon, Yi Xian returned to the dragon field. Although they already knew about the destruction of the demon realm, underworld, and demon realm, the immortal dragon emperor and the crimson dragon emperor were still shocked when they saw Yi Xian in person. Chapter 1800. Dragon Emperor, Senior Dragon Emperor. What is the spacetime relic like? Yi Xian couldn't help but ask. Now there was no place for him in the demon world, underworld, devil world, and immortal world. Even if he had so many resources, he could only reach the immortal emperor realm at most. If he wanted to continue breaking through, he had to find a better place. Since the demon world, underworld, devil world, and immortal world were all spacetime continents, there must be other spacetime continents. Some of them were even bigger than the immortal world. This spacetime relic might be a breakthrough. Azure Emperor has been to the spacetime relic personally, but he didn't go in. He only checked the entrance. The spacetime relic this time seems to be easier than before, but we can't just look at it. After all, the safer it seems, the more dangerous it is, said the immortal dragon emperor. That's right. I also feel that the spacetime relic this time isn't that simple. I reckon that only 9th grade demon venerables can enter, added the red dragon emperor. 9th grade demon venerables? Yi Xian calculated in his heart. He was now a 1st grade immortal venerable. If he used the Heavenly Fire 3 mysterious change of the Heavenly Fire Palace, he could reach the 4th grade immortal venerable realm. In fact, his strength was already at the immortal emperor realm. Of course, it was only temporary because the Heavenly Fire 3 mysterious change couldn't be used by high-level immortal venerables, let alone immortal emperors. However, Old Tree, Azura Ghost Lord, Wei Zhentian, and the Heaven-Breaking Divine Ape were all 5th grade immortal venerables. Their actual combat strength was at the immortal emperor realm. The Heaven-Breaking Divine Ape was even stronger. If he wore the profound divine battle armor, he could even fight against a 3rd or 4th grade immortal emperor. Yi Xian, actually, when you pass through the passageway to the immortal world, we have already made preparations to enter the spacetime relic with Azure Emperor and Empress Wu. At this moment, the immortal dragon emperor suddenly said. Oh! Yi Xian was a little surprised and said. That's great, I have the same idea too. Leave the 4 worlds to the youngsters. Old Red and I have already made preparations to enter the spacetime relic. If we can pass through it, we might be able to reach the new spacetime continent. There will definitely be more opportunities there than in the immortal world, said the immortal dragon emperor. All right, when do we depart? Yi Xian immediately asked. Everyone is ready. The reason why we haven't entered yet is because we're waiting for you, the red dragon emperor said. Yi Xian paused, thought for a moment and said, if that's the case, why don't we wait a few more days? All right, we've been here for 100 years, what's a few days? The immortal dragon emperor grinned. However, we don't know when this spacetime ruin will disappear, so we have to be quick. The reason why they didn't enter the spacetime ruin was indeed because they were waiting for Yi Xian. This was because Yi Xian and the others were very strong. When the time came, they would be able to take care of each other. Rather than saying that they were taking care of each other, it would be better to say that they were trying to curry favor with Yi Xian. After all, he had single-handedly destroyed the 3 realms. His strength was already above everyone else. The reason why Yixian did not act immediately was because this space-time ruin seemed to be very dangerous. He had to raise his cultivation base first, or else he would be in danger of dying. Therefore, he decided to make a breakthrough first. Several days later. Ding! Host has made a breakthrough. Current cultivation base is 2nd grade Immortal Venerable. Ding! Inferno Ghostly Lord, Azura Ghostly Lord Wei Zhantian, and Skybreaking Ape God have made a breakthrough. Current cultivation base is 6th grade Immortal Venerable. Yixian and the others had raised their cultivation base once again. Little Monkey had also finished resting and was ready to fight again. With him around, Yixian wasn't worried at all. Senior Dragon Emperor. I'm ready. Yixian transmitted to the Immortal Dragon Emperor. Soon the Immortal Dragon Emperor and the Red Dragon Emperor appeared before Yixian. When they sensed Yixian's cultivation base, they couldn't help but be stunned. Yixian had broken through from 2nd grade Immortal Emperor to 2nd grade Immortal Venerable in such a short time. Although 100 years had passed for them, that was because Yixian had been affected by the space-time turbulence in the passageway to the Immortal Realm. Terrifying. Truly terrifying. Although the Immortal Dragon Emperor and the Red Dragon Emperor were curious about how Yixian had cultivated, they did not ask. After all, Yixian had no ill intentions towards them. Alright, let's go. The Immortal Dragon Emperor nodded. There were a total of 10 people heading to Azurewood City from the Dragon Domain. Other than the Immortal Dragon Emperor and the Red Dragon Emperor, there were 8 8th grade Demon Venerables experts. Including Yixian, there were 11 of them. There was a teleportation formation in Rising Dragon City that led to Azurewood City. Under the lead of the Immortal Dragon Emperor and the Red Dragon Emperor, Yixian stepped onto it. The teleportation formation began to operate. After a while, Yixian felt the changes in his surroundings. They had arrived at Azurewood City. Azurewood City was the territory of the Immortal World's Azure Emperor. There were countless experts here, much more than the Rising Dragon City. At this moment, Wu Ho's team had also arrived. They were waiting for Yixian to return from the Devil Domain. You're finally here. After Yixian landed, 2 people walked in. They were the Azure Emperor and Wu Ho, who had met Yixian once before. Greetings, seniors. Yixian hurriedly greeted them. Although he was no longer afraid of Wu Ho or the Azure Emperor with his current strength, the 2 of them were still seniors. He still had to be polite. Hearing Yixian's words, the Azure Emperor and Wu Ho relaxed. It seemed that Yixian had no ill intentions towards the immortal world. Little brother, we've been waiting for you for a long time, the Azure Emperor said with a smile. Alright, let's not talk about these pleasantries. Little brother, you want to enter the space-time ruin too, right? Wu Ho asked directly. Yes. Yixian nodded. This answer made the Azure Emperor and Wu Ho feel slightly relieved. Yixian's contractors were not ordinary people. With him in the team, their safety was increased by a lot. We've already sent some puppets to investigate the space-time ruin. However, these puppets disappeared after passing through the door. Simply put, we know nothing about the space-time ruin this time. Wu Ho continued. Let's not talk about that. Little brother, come and see for yourself. After the Azure Emperor finished speaking, he led Yixian and the others away and entered another teleportation palace. From here, one could directly teleport to the entrance of the space-time ruin. Hua! The teleportation array activated again. In an instant, Yixian landed again. The entrance of the space-time ruin was beside the teleportation array. This is the space-time ruin? Yixian narrowed his eyes. The entrance of this space-time ruin was a simple and unadorned door. The door was open, but it was blocked by a strange energy, making it impossible to see what was inside. Chapter 1801. So you're saying that we'll be trapped as soon as we enter? Yixian suddenly reacted. Our team is ready. Although it's extremely dangerous to enter the space-time relic, there's nothing we can do in the immortal world. Why don't we give it our all? Wu Ho said. She and Emperor Qing were the only 2 immortal emperors in the 4 realms. They couldn't advance any further and could only survive. Therefore, they made the decision to enter the space-time relic. Yixian glanced around and found that Emperor Qing and Wu Ho had brought a lot of people. There were more than 50 people in total. Including the 10 from Longyu, there were more than 60 people. Among them, Yixian sensed a familiar feeling. It came from 3 ninth grade immortal venerables because the immortal heart in their bodies was the Xianji immortal heart. These 3 people were the 3 palace masters of the Heavenly Fire Palace. Because they also had the Xianji immortal heart, they also sensed the qi of Yixian. However, they didn't dare to say anything now. Although Yixian was only a 2nd grade immortal venerable, which was 7 realms lower than them, the strength of Old Tree and the others was enough to make Emperor Qing fear them. Since we've made the decision, let's enter together. If we can still stay together, we can take care of each other. Emperor Qing said slowly. All right. Let's enter. Those ancestors might not have died in there, but passed through the space-time relic and went to a new world. Everyone seemed to be in high spirits. This group of people stood at the peak of the 4 realms. The weakest among them was an 8th grade immortal venerable. It would be difficult for them to advance further in this place. However, if they entered a higher-level spatial continent, their advancement speed would definitely be faster than in the immortal world. After pondering for a moment, everyone decided to enter. However, at this moment, Yixian suddenly said, Wait, let my people explore the way first. Everyone couldn't help but stop when they heard this. Then Yixian summoned Old Tree and Azura Ghost Venerable. Old Tree, Ribribs, go in and take a look, Yixian said to the 2 of them. It was unknown how dangerous this space-time ruin was, but just in case, Yixian still sent the undying Old Tree and Ghost Lord Azura as cannon fodder. All right. The Old Tree and Ghost Lord Azura nodded and entered the space-time relic one after another. However, as soon as the 2 of them passed through the door, Yixian quickly transmitted a message to them. However, there was no response. How strange. I can't transmit my voice. Yixian was extremely shocked. One had to know that this was a voice transmission between the owner, and this was the first time it had failed. However, Yixian had another idea. I'll go in and take a look. After Yixian finished speaking, he directly jumped in. When he passed through the door, he found himself in front of the 2nd door. Old Tree, Ribrips, are you there? At that moment, Yixian continued to transmit his voice, but he still did not get a response. In desperation, he could only put on the mystic god armor and go in to explore. The Old Tree and Ghost Lord Azura were only missing. As there was no notification, the 2 of them should still be alive. However, when Yixian was about to summon Luo Luo to fight alongside him, he was shocked to find that Luo Luo could not be summoned. What's going on? I can't summon Luo Luo from the planting space. Not only that, but the other immortal beasts are also the same. Yixian opened his eyes wide, not understanding what was happening to him. After he checked, he found that there was a skill that could not be used. Space-time reversal. Hiss! The space-time reversal skill could not be used. What was going on? Yixian's original plan was to explore by himself. If anything happened, he would use the space-time reversal skill to return to the entrance of the space-time ruin. Unexpectedly, the space-time reversal skill could not be used in the space-time ruin. This was a tragedy. Tragedy, this is really a tragedy. If I can't use the space-time reversal skill, my 3 doppelgangers will be destroyed. That will be the end of me. Yixian thought to himself. No, if his 3 doppelgangers were destroyed, he would not be counted in the space-time ruin. When that happened, his 4th doppelganger in the mortal domain might be able to use the space-time reversal skill. However, he did not dare to guarantee that. Hence, he had to be careful and treat the space-time reversal skill as if it could not be used. Although he had 3 devour points and could revive his 3 doppelgangers, devour points were not so easily obtained. He had to save as much as he could. Luckily, I can summon Wei Zhentian. Thinking of this, Yixian heaved a sigh of relief. Wei Zhentian was a 6th grade immortal master. If he transformed into the mystic god armor, even the Lotus Emperor would not be able to break through it. Ding! Host has triggered a random mission to break through the space-time ruin. Completion reward. Space-time bloodline evolution skill once. At this time, the system suddenly gave a notification. The reward this time was very generous. It was actually an evolution skill for the space-time bloodline. Under the space-time bloodline, there were a total of 2 paths of evolution. They were the time control and space control. If the time control skill was upgraded, the cooldown time of the space-time reversal skill would be shortened. At the same time, the time that one could reverse time would be extended. Furthermore, the flow of time in the planting space would also be increased. As for the space control skill, it would increase the effect of the extreme space shield, as well as the distance and number of teleportations. All in all, this reward was very good for Yi Xian. However, this random mission still had a time limit. Yi Xian had to break through the space-time ruin within 7 days. Originally, I wanted to stay in front of this door for a while, and break through after my cultivation level had increased. However, it seems that there is no time for me now. Yi Xian squinted his eyes slightly as he pondered in his heart. The time limit for the random mission was 7 days. Yi Xian would need another 4 to 5 days before he could break through again. If he waited until he broke through again, he would only have 2 days left to break through. However, if he tried to break through now, it would be very dangerous. There was a risk that his 3 doppelgangers would die. After all, Luo Luo and Patillon could not be summoned now. I don't care anymore. Breakthrough. In the end, Yi Xian made his decision. He had already ascended to the immortal realm and become a celestial supremacy. How could he be so timid? Go. Immediately, Yi Xian put on the mystic god armor and walked towards the door. Boom! Before he could get close, the door opened automatically. Then a series of crisp sounds could be heard. Kacha! 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 Yi Xian hurriedly looked and realized that there was a row of mechanical arms in front of him. They were moving quickly and rhythmically. A mechanical maze? In an instant, Yi Xian realized what was going on. Chapter 1802. Wei Zhentian is not a living creature, which is why I can summon him. If the old tree and Azura Ghost Venerable are still in the planting space, I don't think I can summon him. Yi Xian thought for a while and decided to let Wei Zhentian explore the path first. Wei Zhentian transformed into a thin needle and chose the first path to enter. Through the shared vision, Yi Xian could see clearly that there were mechanical arms along the way. Moreover, the path was long and not an ordinary person could pass through it. This maze of mechanisms extends in all directions. I don't know where the exit is. Yi Xian had a headache. Although Wei Zhentian could deal with the mechanical arms, he still needed to do something before he could use the immortal grade devouring system to draw the map. Since he couldn't use the eyes of the void here, he could only wait for Wei Zhentian to find the exit, return, and re-enter the maze. This step took a long time, but it was only half a day. Then Wei Zhentian spent another half day to return and turn back into the mystic divine armor, and put it on Yi Xian. Next, it was up to Yi Xian to move on his own. If Yi Xian, who was a second-grade immortal venerable, was on his own, he might not be able to pass through. Using the Heavenly Fire 3 mysterious change could temporarily raise Yi Xian to a 5th-grade immortal venerable. However, the Heavenly Fire 3 mysterious change had a time limit. Once the time limit was up, Yi Xian would fall back to a 2nd-grade immortal venerable. However, it was different after he put on the mystic divine armor. There doesn't seem to be a place to rest midway. After using the Heavenly Fire 3 mysterious change, I have to hurry up. When the Heavenly Fire 3 mysterious change is in cooldown, I can only be beaten up by these mechanical arms. Yi Xian thought to himself, if there was a place to rest midway, it would be easier. However, there wasn't, so he could only be beaten up. This was considered a rest. With the mystic divine armor and the immortal phoenix bloodline, it shouldn't be a problem for Yi Xian to withstand these attacks. After mentally preparing himself, Yi Xian started to move. He took a big stride and rushed into the maze of mechanisms. After putting on the mystic divine battle armor and using the Heavenly Fire 3 mystic change, Yi Xian was extremely fast. He easily avoided these obstacles and proceeded according to the immortal grade devouring system's map. However, the duration of the Skyfire 3 mysterious change passed very quickly, and Yi Xian's speed slowed down. Bang! 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 Muffled sounds rang out as Yi Xian was smashed by the mechanical arm and bounced around like a rubber ball. Fortunately, the mystic divine battle armor was extremely tough. Coupled with the recovery speed of the immortal divine phoenix bloodline, Yi Xian managed to hold on. After some time, Heavenly Fire 3 mysterious change 3rd change. Yi Xian once again used the Heavenly Fire 3 mysterious change and began to charge forward. After a few rounds, he finally left the maze. However, it was already 2 days later. In addition to the day when Wei Zhentian used it, it was 3 days. In these 2 days, Yi Xian did not know how many times he was beaten up. Fortunately, He had already left the maze of mechanisms. Even I had such a hard time passing through it. I'm afraid those grade 8 and grade 9 immortal supremacies would not be able to pass, right? Yi Xian thought to himself. However, he did not care so much. The life and death of those people had nothing to do with him. This path was chosen by the other party. Moreover, the other party might not have entered yet. After passing through the maze of mechanisms, Yi Xian sized up his new environment. It was very spacious, as if he was in a huge hall. There was only one mechanical puppet in front of him. Young man, defeat this mechanical puppet, and you will pass the level. A voice entered Yi Xian's ears. Who's talking? Yi Xian asked in surprise. Young man, as long as you defeat it, you will be able to see me. Then you will know who I am. The voice rang out in the huge hall again. If that's the case, then destroy it. Yi Xian squinted his eyes slightly and said in his heart, System analysis. This puppet definitely had a flaw. With the immortal grade devouring system strength, it should not be a problem for it to detect the flaw. Gotcha. At this moment the puppet began to move. Its speed was very fast and it was at least of the immortal emperor grade. Yi Xian also recalled that the maze of mechanisms just now should be of the immortal emperor grade. However, it was better to deal with this problem first. Ding! Analysis successful. Before the puppet rushed over, the system gave a notification. This puppet's weak point was somewhere on its back. As long as it was hit hard, it could be defeated. Go! Yi Xian did not waste any time. He immediately took out the departing flame celestial sword and put on the mystic divine armor and rushed forward. Clang! 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 Crisp sounds rang out in the huge hall one after another. Now that Yi Xian could not use the Heavenly Fire 3 mysterious change, he could only rely on the mystic divine armor to fight this puppet. Of course, during the battle, he would always be the one getting beaten up. However, after the Heavenly Fire 3 mysterious change cooled down, he immediately unleashed his full power. Heavenly Fire 3 mysterious change, third change. In an instant, Yi Xian's cultivation level rose from 2nd grade immortal venerable to 5th grade immortal venerable. Immediately after, he quickly used the Eye of Assassination to go to the puppet's back and stabbed it with his sword. Gotcha! This sword accurately pierced the puppet's weak point, without missing a beat. In the next moment, the puppet instantly disintegrated. Young man, you're not bad. Originally, I said it to be a battle between people of the same level. I didn't expect that you would dare to enter my ruins when you're not even an immortal emperor. You've really impressed me. The mysterious voice rang out. Senior, you flatter me. Yi Xian hurriedly cupped his fist and said, Keep this puppet. I purposely left that weak point. Otherwise, with your strength, you won't be able to defeat it. Following the meaning of this voice, Yi Xian hurriedly put away the puppet that had already disintegrated into pieces. He could tell that this was a good thing. Go through that door and you'll find me. Immediately, Yi Xian quickly stepped into the door in front of him. After he passed through, he saw a middle-aged man standing in front of him. Greetings, senior. Yi Xian hurriedly said. The middle-aged man waved his hand and said, This ruin was built by me casually. However, I've left my life's unique skill here. You've already passed 2 tests. As long as you pass one more test, you'll be able to obtain my inheritance. Upon hearing this, Yi Xian's eyes lit up. Let me introduce myself first. I'm called Spiritual Heart Enlightened. I don't know if I'm still alive. This is just a remnant of my will. If you can obtain my inheritance, you can try to find me. Perhaps I'll accept you as my disciple. The middle-aged man said. Spiritual Heart Enlightened? Yi Xian's heart skipped a beat. Enlightened? What kind of title was that? If this middle-aged man was still an immortal emperor, he should call himself Immortal Emperor Ling Xian. Chapter 1803. Before you, there were already quite a few people who failed. Those who failed were all trapped here by me. The longest one of them has been trapped here for several million years. After Spiritual Heart finished speaking, puppets walked out from behind him and said, These puppets are all 1st grade immortal emperors. You'll have to defeat 100 puppets in the 3rd stage. 100? Yi Xian raised his eyebrows. He had defeated the previous puppet with the help of the Heavenly Fire 3 mysterious change. He was afraid that it would be impossible for him to challenge 100 puppets now. These puppets can only display the strength of a first-grade immortal emperor. If they unleash their full strength, they can even kill a 9th-grade immortal emperor easily. You just have to find their weaknesses one by one, and you'll be able to defeat them one by one. Spiritual Heart said. Junior understands. Yixian nodded slightly and said, But Senior, can you let Junior rest for 2 days before I challenge them? Sure. Spiritual Heart nodded. What he didn't know was that Yixian would be able to break through to 3rd-grade Immortal Venerable in 2 days. At that time he would use the Heavenly Fire 3 Mysterious Change to defeat the 100 puppets in one fell swoop. Then Yixian began to rest. Ding! Host has broken through to 3rd-grade Immortal Venerable. Ding! Azura Ghost Lord, Wei Zhantian, Yanming Ghost Lord, and Skybreaking Ape God have broken through to 7th-grade Immortal Venerable. 2 days later, Yixian broke through to 7th-grade Immortal Venerable as expected. I see. You're on the verge of breaking through. Spiritual Heart couldn't help but sigh. But it doesn't matter. As long as you haven't reached the Immortal Emperor realm, the combat strength of these puppets won't change. Although he said so, the more Spiritual Heart looked at Yixian, the more he liked him. Even he hadn't seen many people who were able to fight across so many realms. Moreover, the geniuses he had seen all had strong backgrounds. They were able to defeat their opponents in terms of immortal techniques and equipment. Although Yixian was relying on the mysterious divine armor, his strength wasn't weak. Spiritual Heart could tell at a glance. Senior, I'm ready. Yixian said. Okay, then we'll start in 3 seconds. Daoist Spirit Heart nodded slightly. In fact, Yixian had already used the Immortal Grade Devouring system to sweep through all 100 puppets in the past 2 days. Each of these 100 puppets had a different vital point. However, this was not a problem for Yixian. This time he had to pass, otherwise, he would also be trapped here by Daoist Ling Xian. Kacha! 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 3 seconds later, the 100 puppets began to move. One of them directly passed through Daoist Spirit Heart's projection and headed straight for Yixian. Heavenly Fire 3 Mysterious Change, 3rd change. Yixian's eyes flickered. His cultivation base instantly rose to 6th-grade Immortal Venerable. Then, he turned into a ray of light and pounced towards the 100 puppets. His speed was very fast, even surpassing the speed of the puppets. With a thrust of the Li-Fire Celestial Sword in his hand, he was able to destroy a puppet. 1, 2, 5, 10. The number of puppets rapidly decreased. Upon seeing this, Daoist Spirit Heart couldn't help but have a whole new level of respect for Yixian. Even an Immortal Emperor expert wouldn't be able to find the flaws in such a short time. These puppets weren't difficult to deal with. As long as one was a 2nd-grade Immortal Emperor, they would be able to avoid them. However, the most important thing was that it was very difficult to find their vital points. In the end, one would be exhausted to death. Very quickly, more than half of the puppets in the arena were disintegrated by Yixian. Yixian's Heavenly Fire 3 Mysterious Change still had some time left, so it shouldn't be a problem for him to defeat the rest of the puppets in the remaining time. Sure enough, the remaining puppets weren't able to stop Yixian's footsteps at all. They were forcefully torn apart. Daoist Spirit Heart was slightly shocked. Not to mention Yixian's cultivation base, even a person 1 or 2 realms higher than the puppets wouldn't be able to find the flaws in such a short time. Moreover, these puppets were under his control, so their combat strength was the same as the challengers. If the challenger was a 1st-grade Immortal Emperor, then these 100 puppets would have the combat strength of a 1st-grade Immortal Emperor. If the challenger was a 9th-grade Immortal Emperor, then they would have the combat strength of a 9th-grade Immortal Emperor. However, Yixian had crossed several realms and passed this test. His aptitude was enough to show. Good, very good. Young man, you passed the 3rd test. Daoist Spirit Heart nodded with satisfaction. Hearing this, Yixian couldn't help but slightly raise the corner of his mouth. It seemed that he could pass through this space-time ruin. Moreover, he could also obtain the inheritance of Daoist Spirit Heart. It was really good. Before he could react, Daoist Spirit Heart waved his hand, and then words appeared in the air. Ding, host has discovered the 100 machine drill. Do you want to copy it? Yes. Ding, host has successfully copied it. Do you want to learn it now? Yes. Although he didn't know what this was, since it was the inheritance of Taoist spirit heart, it must be something good. This is called the 100 machine drill. It contains the method to control these 100 puppets. You can make them form various battle formations to defend against the enemy. Taoist spirit heart waved his hand again, and the 100 puppets reappeared. Then he said, "These 100 puppets are just casually refined by me, so there are flaws. If you can find me in the future, I will give you these spirit heart puppets. When the time comes, with the help of the 100 machine drill, you can even fight against an enlightened being." Enlightened being? Yixian heard this keyword. Enlightened being, was it the same realm? Well, you can now control this ruin. You can do whatever you want with those people. However, one of them has the blood of my old friend and accidentally broke in. I think his name is Ling Kai. You can release him. Taoist spirit heart said. Yes, senior. Yixian nodded. As soon as he finished speaking, Taoist spirit heart's phantom image disappeared, leaving no trace of where he was or what his identity was. It seemed like Yixian had to look for him himself. However, the clue was on that Ling Kai because Taoist spirit heart said that this Ling Kai was the descendant of his old friend. When the time comes, as long as he followed this clue, he should be able to find him. Boom! At this time, a door beside the hall suddenly opened. Yixian hastily walked in and found that there were hundreds and thousands of people imprisoned inside. Not only that, these people's auras were much stronger than his. There were even high-level immortal emperors. Heavens! Yixian was shocked. He quickly glanced around and found the traces of the old tree and Azura ghost venerable. Young master, you are finally here. I have been waiting for so many years. Old tree said helplessly. So many years. Yixian raised his eyebrows. He was only a few seconds away from the old tree, but the difference was calculated in years. This was too terrifying. No wonder his time reversal couldn't be used. So this was the reason. Wow, someone is here. Hey young man, quickly let me out. Chapter 1804. These people were locked up in solitary confinement and were protected by a formation, so they couldn't threaten him. If they could come out, they could definitely kill Yixian. But if they could come out, why would they need to threaten him? Now that Yixian was in control of the space-time relic, he directly released the old tree and Azura ghost venerable. Then, he released the 100 ordinary puppets. 100 machine manipulation can instantly control these 100 ordinary puppets and form various battle formations. But with my current realm, I'm afraid that I can't even control 1/10,000th of their strength. Let's think about it later. Yixian thought for a while and then prepared to carry out a plan, which was to put all of them into the planting space. You people were trapped by spiritual heart reverend because you didn't manage to pass this relic. Unfortunately, I've just passed spiritual heart reverend's test. Now your life and death is up to me. Yixian said slowly. As soon as these words came out, everyone was shocked. What? Spiritual heart reverend? The owner of this relic is actually a spiritual heart reverend. Heavens! This third-grade immortal venerable actually obtained the inheritance of a spiritual heart reverend. I wonder how lucky he is. What nonsense are you talking about? Now that he's in control of this relic, if you dare to talk nonsense again, do you believe that he won't kill you? The crowd of nearly 1,000 fell silent. Among this group of people, the strongest was a 9th-grade immortal emperor. This was a super battle force. However, Yixian planned to put them into the planting space and not let them out. Next, I'll put you all into my planting space one by one. If anyone dares to refuse, I'll kill them without mercy. Yixian's face suddenly turned cold and looked around. Everyone swallowed a mouthful of saliva. In this group of people, the weakest was a 1st-grade immortal emperor. It was fine that they fell into the hands of spiritual heart reverend, but now they fell into the hands of a 3rd-grade immortal venerable who wasn't even an immortal emperor. It was really humiliating. However, they didn't know that Yixian couldn't completely control the 100 puppets. After all, they couldn't guess the means of a spiritual heart reverend. Good, very good. Let's begin. Yixian narrowed his eyes. Then, he enveloped a 1st-grade immortal emperor with the energy of the planting space. This 1st-grade immortal emperor didn't dare to resist, and was directly sucked into the planting space. In the planting space, even a 9th-grade immortal emperor would be trapped to death. Then, one by one, the immortal emperors were taken in by Yixian. For the time being, no one resisted. However, after Yixian had collected more than 100 people, there was finally a failure. This was a grade 4 immortal emperor. He was the one who had scolded Yixian. "What's your name?" Yixian asked. "I am Lin Yuanlong. You can kill me or torture me as you wish." Hearing this, Yixian smiled faintly and nodded. "Someone come and kill him. When the time comes, I will set him free." "Me? Let me do it. I'm happy to help." Immediately, all the immortal emperors were in an uproar. Killing a grade 4 immortal emperor would give them freedom. This was definitely a good deal. The brawny man was so scared that his face turned pale. Before he could speak, the barrier behind him suddenly disappeared. Then, a grade 6 immortal emperor came in and instantly pierced through his immortal heart. Kill the chicken to warn the monkey. Only by doing this would the rest of the people obediently enter the planting space. Very good. After a while I will set you free. I Yixian am a man of my word. Yixian said to the grade 6 immortal emperor. Thank you, thank you. The grade 6 immortal emperor hurriedly thanked him. Following that, Yixian's journey was smooth sailing. He didn't miss a single one of them and put them into his planting space. Even the grade 9 immortal emperor was taken in by Yixian after some hesitation. A grade 9 immortal emperor was very close to becoming a perfected person. However, the level of the planting space was very high. He couldn't leave with his means. As a result, these people's Qiankuan rings all fell into Yixian's hands. TSK. So many heavenly treasures. It will be enough for me to break through for a long time. Yixian grinned. This time he had really gained a lot. He had earned a lot. Of course, he didn't forget Ling Kai, who was entrusted by perfected person Ling Xian. Immediately, he projected himself into the planting space and asked, "Which one of you is called Ling Kai?" As soon as he said this, those people looked at each other. In the end, a person walked out. This was a grade 6 immortal emperor. However, coincidentally, it was the same grade 6 immortal emperor who killed Lin Yuanlong. You are looking for me?" Ling Kai looked at Yixian with some surprise. Perfected person Ling Xian said that you are the descendant of his old friend. Don't you know? Yixian transmitted his voice. Old friend? Ling Kai was stunned and said, there was indeed a perfected person among my ancestors. However, he went to travel the world. Many of the elders haven't seen him. What's the name of your ancestor? Yixian asked again. Ling Lang. Ling Kai answered without thinking. Hey, I got it. Yixian nodded slightly and said, then what's the perfected person's realm? After the immortal emperor is the perfected person. Oh, there's also a half-step perfected person in between. Ling Kai said. Half-step perfected person? Hearing this, Yixian paused. Currently, he was not even an immortal emperor. He was too far away from the perfected person. At this time, he recalled that perfected person Ling Xian had said that if all 100 puppets were replaced with spirit heart puppets, he could even fight with a perfected person. He didn't expect them to be so strong. Unfortunately, he could only use the puppets as meat shields. As for the battle, he would leave it to the old tree, Azura Ghost Venerable, and the others. Okay, I understand. Yixian nodded slightly and then asked, may I ask, where is the place after leaving this ruin? I came from another space continent. Another space continent? Ling Kai was slightly surprised and said, there are indeed some small space continents that connect to the Holy World. The Holy World? Yixian narrowed his eyes. No matter where he was, he only had one goal, and that was to be the strongest in the world. It was the same everywhere. He had to level up anyway. Okay, let's not talk about this for now. I'll let you out after I leave this ruin. After saying that, Yixian walked toward the exit of the ruin. As for the immortal world's Emperor Qing, Empress Wu, Immortal Dragon Emperor, Red Dragon Emperor, and the others, Yixian naturally chose to ignore them. Just now, the old tree and Azura Ghost Venerable entered first, and he entered a few seconds later. There was a gap of decades between them. Even if the Emperor Qing and the others followed him in, there would still be a big gap. Even if it was a year, Yixian couldn't be bothered to wait. Besides, he didn't know when the Emperor Qing and the immortal world would enter. What if it was 1,000 years? Chapter 1805. Let's go. Without hesitation, Yixian left the spacetime relic, or rather the spiritual heart relic. As soon as he left the relic, a system notification popped up. Ding! Host has completed the random mission, Spacetime Bloodline Advancement. Random mission completed, Spacetime Bloodline Advancement. Now, the flow of space in the planting space had increased to 51,200 times. 140 years in the planting space was equivalent to 1 day in the outside world. This was a great tool for cultivation. After leaving the relic, Yixian arrived at the holy realm that Ling Kai had mentioned. No matter where it was the same. Is this the holy realm? Yixian squinted his eyes. He felt that the immortal qi here was 10 times more abundant than in the immortal realm. It was a pleasure to cultivate here. However, as soon as he left the relic, another system notification popped up. Ding! Host has triggered a chain random mission. Escort Ling Kai back to the Ling Family Escort Agency. He had just completed a random mission, and now there was a chain random mission. This was great. There is no reward. It seems that it has something to do with my efficiency. Yixian squinted his eyes and projected himself into the planting space. He asked, Ling Kai, where is your family? Me? I am from the Ling Family Escort Agency, Ling Kai replied. The Ling Family Escort Agency? Yixian searched for it in his mind. He had collected many Qiankuan rings and copied all the maps into the immortal level devouring system. Now he could make use of them. Soon he pulled out a map and looked at it. The Ling Family Escort Agency? If we travel at full speed, it will take us 3 days. Yixian thought to himself. This was based on Ling Kai's speed. When Ling Kai accidentally entered the spiritual heart relic, he was only a 3rd-grade immortal emperor. Ling Kai's family, the Ling Family Escort Agency, was located next to a city. They were responsible for escorting valuable items. It was said that they were quite famous in this area. Ling Kai was the grandson of the deputy leader of the Ling Family Escort Agency, so he had some status in the agency. However, since this was a chain random mission, it wouldn't be so easy to escort Ling Kai back. Ling Kai, how long have you been locked in there? Yixian asked again. Almost 100,000 years. Ling Kai answered honestly. 100,000 years, so long? Yixian paused for a moment. 100,000 years was like a fairy tale to him. Moreover, 100,000 years was enough for a lot of changes. Perhaps the Ling Family Escort Agency had moved something? No matter what, since the system had given him a notification, the Ling Family Escort Agency would definitely still exist. At that moment, Yixian released Ling Kai and said, Daoist Ling Exine has entrusted me with a task, so I have to follow you to the Ling Clan's escort agency. Bring me along. Alright. Ling Kai didn't waste any more time and left with Yixian. Although he had already broken through to the 6th-grade Celestial Emperor realm, Yixian was able to obtain the inheritance of Daoist Spirit Heart and control hundreds of puppets. His battle prowess was definitely not that simple. Therefore, Ling Kai didn't plan to do anything to Yixian to avoid any accidents. Then Ling Kai brought Yixian and flew in the direction of the Ling Clan's escort agency. However, things weren't that simple. Ling Kai flew with Yixian for 3 full days, but they didn't find anything. The area was completely deserted. The people were gone. The Ling Clan's escort agency was gone. What happened? What happened during the 100,000 years I was locked up? Ling Kai was shocked. The Ling Clan's escort agency was a family with a heritage of more than 1,000,000 years. There was even a half-step enlightened being in the family. How could it be gone just like that? It's really not an easy task. I don't know if the Ling Clan's escort agency was destroyed or moved away. Yixian had a headache and said to Ling Kai, maybe they moved away. We passed by a city just now. Why don't we ask around? Alright. Ling Kai nodded. If the Ling Clan's escort agency was gone, wouldn't he become a homeless man? However, it had only been 100,000 years. For an immortal emperor, it wasn't a long time. He should be able to find out if he investigated. Immediately, Ling Kai once again brought Yixian and flew towards a city that they just passed by. Ding! Host has broken through. Host is now a 4th-grade immortal venerable. Ding! Azura Ghost Lord, Wei Zhentian Yanming Ghost Lord, and Skybreaking Ape God have broken through. Host is now a 8th-grade immortal venerable. After a day and a half they arrived. During this time Yixian and the others had also broken through. However, this level was considered good in the immortal world. In the holy world it was the lowest level. This city was called Silver City. Although it wasn't big, it had a large population. Moreover, the people inside were at least immortal venerables. Immortal emperors could be seen everywhere. There were even half-step enlightened beings. In every city there was a place like this where one could gather information such as inns. Yixian and Ling Kai entered one of the largest inns and asked about it. The Ling clan's escort agency from 100,000 years ago? I'm not very sure. Our Silver City has only been established for 50,000 years. The innkeeper of the inn said. This meant that the Ling clan's escort agency had disappeared 50,000 years ago. It seemed that they had to ask someone else. Just as Yixian and Ling Kai were about to leave, the innkeeper suddenly said, "By the way, I've never heard of the Ling clan's escort agency. However, there is a Lin clan's escort agency in the north." Lin clan's escort agency? Hearing this, Yixian and Ling Kai couldn't help but look at each other. Ling and Lin's voices were different. However, the appearance of a Lin clan's escort agency was indeed a little inconceivable. Innkeeper, how long has this Lin clan's escort agency been established? Who's the leader? Ling Kai asked. It was established before Silver City, about 70,000 years ago. The leader seems to be called Lin Miao, a half-step enlightened being. The innkeeper replied. When Ling Kai heard this name, he couldn't help but tremble. Back then, the Ling clan's escort agency had a deputy leader called Lin Miao. Could it be that it was the same person? Seeing Ling Kai's reaction, Yixian also understood that this Lin clan's escort agency was most likely related to the Ling clan's escort agency from 100,000 years ago. It seemed that they had found some clues. Immediately they asked the innkeeper again, hoping to get more clues. However, the innkeeper was from another place, so he didn't know much. After leaving the inn, Yixian couldn't help but ask, Ling Kai, this Lin Miao, was he also a member of the Ling clan's escort agency? Yes, he was a deputy leader like my grandfather. Ling Kai nodded and said. Chapter 1806. Therefore, Yixian decided to visit the Lin clan's escort agency first. He wanted to confirm whether the leader of the Lin clan's escort agency was Lin Miao from the Ling clan's escort agency. Immediately, Yixian and Ling Kai left once again, heading towards the Lin family's escort agency in the north. A day later, they arrived at the Lin clan's escort agency. Your Excellencies, are you here to deliver the goods? A strong man greeted them outside the Lin clan's escort agency. Ling Kai sensed that the man was a 7th-grade Celestial Emperor expert. The Lin clan's escort agency seemed to be much stronger than the Ling clan's escort agency. I'm here to look for someone, Ling Kai said directly. Who are you looking for? The strong man asked in surprise. The leader of the Lin clan's escort agency, Lin Miao. After Ling Kai finished speaking, the strong man was stunned for a second. He then said, Where did you come from? Who do you think you are? You want to see our leader as soon as you open your mouth. Seeing that Ling Kai wasn't here to deliver the goods, the strong man couldn't be bothered to talk nonsense. His attitude changed completely. Just as Ling Kai was about to speak, Yixian suddenly said, Don't be in a hurry. Let's see if we can find a portrait of the leader of the Lin clan's escort agency. Hearing this, Ling Kai was shocked. How could he have forgotten this method? If the leader of the Lin clan's escort agency was the same person as the deputy leader of the Ling clan's escort agency, Ling Kai would know at a glance. Yixian and Ling Kai left again. The former broke through the void and returned to Silver City. They should be able to find a portrait of Lin Miao here. Sure enough, within 5 minutes, Yixian and Ling Kai arrived at a floating image crystal. It showed the scene of the leader of the Lin clan's escort agency, Lin Miao, passing by Silver City. That's right. It's him. Ling Kai nodded immediately when he saw Lin Miao. This meant that the current leader of the Lin clan's escort agency was the same person as the deputy leader of the Lin clan's escort agency, 100,000 years ago. If that was the case, it would be easy. Then Yixian tore through the void and returned. Since this Lin Miao was the Lin Miao that Ling Kai knew, he should also remember Ling Kai. After all, Ling Kai's grandfather was also a deputy leader, and his great-grandfather was the leader of the Lin's escort agency. Therefore, he wanted to use the simplest method. Grandpa Lin Miao, I am Lei Feng's grandson Ling Kai. I have just returned from my training. Please meet me. Ling Kai gathered his courage and shouted directly outside the Lin's escort agency. His voice was deafening and fell into the ears of everyone in the Lin escort agency. When the burly man at the door heard this, he immediately locked onto Ling Kai and charged over. Bastard, you actually dare to disturb others? See if I don't slap you to death. Although the burly man was a little surprised, how could a poor man like Ling Kai know the leader of the Lin family escort agency, Lin Miao? What a joke. In an instant, the burly man appeared in front of Ling Kai and punched out. Old Tree, kill him. Yi Xian immediately summoned Old Tree, who had already donned the mystic god battle armor. Bang! This punch was blocked by Old Tree and repelled the burly man. The burly man was a 7th grade celestial emperor. Although Old Tree was an 8th grade celestial venerable, he was not afraid of the burly man with the mystic god battle armor. Of course, the burly man had obviously underestimated him. Moreover, Old Tree had suddenly appeared and repelled him. Bastard, you are courting death. When the burly man saw that he was repelled, he was immediately furious. However, in the next moment, a person flashed out of the Lin escort agency and shouted, "Stop!" When the burly man heard this, his body immediately trembled and he stopped. The person who had just arrived was the chief steward of the Lin escort agency. He was the one who took care of most of the matters in the Lin escort agency. The burly man could recognize him just by hearing his voice. Uncle Li? Ling Kai recognized him. This was the chief steward of the Lin escort agency. He was also the chief steward of the Ling escort agency. Ling Kai, it's really you. Uncle Li landed on the ground in surprise and asked, "Where have you been all these years?" "I went out to train and have only just returned," Ling Kai said. "Not bad, not bad. I remember that when you left, you were only a 3rd grade celestial emperor. In less than 100,000 years, you have broken through to a 6th grade celestial emperor." Uncle Li nodded in satisfaction. "Uncle Li, where are my father and grandfather?" Ling Kai could not help but ask in surprise. "Sai, come in with me first. I will tell you slowly." Uncle Li sighed. Then he led Ling Kai and Yi Xian into the Lin escort agency. The burly man who had attacked just now was so scared that he broke out in cold sweat. He did not expect Ling Kai to know Lin Miao. Fortunately, he did not hurt Ling Kai. Otherwise, he would have been dead. Yi Xian and Ling Kai entered the Lin escort agency under Uncle Li's lead. At the same time, the moment Yi Xian stepped into the Lin escort agency, a system notification sounded. Ding! The host has successfully escorted Ling Kai back to the Ling escort agency. The first part of the mission was completed. However, the second part of the mission was not triggered yet. Uncle Li led Ling Kai into a room. Before he could say anything, Ling Kai asked again, "Uncle Li, where are my family members?" "They have all moved away." Uncle Li replied. "Moved away? Where to?" Ling Kai asked in surprise. Uncle Li shook his head and said, "I am not very sure. Back then, for some reason, your great-grandfather started to organize the Ling family to move away. I am afraid that only your great-grandfather knows the reason. Perhaps even your grandfather does not know the reason." After that, they left, leaving the Ling escort agency in a mess. Lin Miao could not bear to see them leave, so he reorganized and established the Lin escort agency. Only my great-grandfather knows the reason for the move? Ling Kai was puzzled. What was it that they were not willing to tell their own family members? Why did they leave in such a hurry? Could it be that they had encountered something that could lead to the extermination of their family? Then, has there been no news of them in the past 100,000 years? Ling Kai asked. After they left, the branch leader has investigated many times, but to no avail. Your grandfather and the rest seem to have evaporated into thin air. Uncle Li shook his head. Ling Kai found it hard to accept and did not know what to say. Ling Kai, this matter cannot be rushed. Anyway, the branch leader has been sending people to look for clues. Why don't you stay here first? If there is any news, we will inform you immediately, Uncle Li said. All right, then I will have to trouble you, Uncle Li. Ling Kai nodded. He knew nothing at the moment, so it was not a bad choice to stay in the Lin escort agency for the time being. Previously, there were many outsiders in the Ling escort agency. Uncle Li, Lin Miao, and the rest had children, so Ling Kai was familiar with them. "Hey Ling Kai, you are back?" At this moment, a young man suddenly walked in. Chapter 1807. Lin Qi was Lin Miao's grandson. He used to have a good relationship with Ling Kai. During the 100,000 years that Ling Kai was trapped in the spiritual heart relic, Lin Qi had also broken through from the 3rd grade Celestial Emperor to the 7th grade Celestial Emperor. After not seeing each other for so many years, the two of them were naturally closer. Ling Kai and Lin Qi chatted for a while, then stayed in the Lin clan's escort agency for the time being. Yixian did the same because he had not triggered the second part of the quest. However, this chain of random quests was definitely related to Ling Kai. Yixian stayed in the Lin clan's escort agency for a few days. Then he received a message from Ling Kai. "Lin Qi is going to escort a quest. Are you coming with him?" Yixian narrowed his eyes. His intuition told him that this time it might be. Ding! Host has triggered the second part of the chain of random quests. Follow Lin Qi's escort team. The system notified. Sure enough, the second part of the random quests appeared. "Ling Kai, bring me along." Yixian hurriedly transmitted his voice. Lin Qi was only a 7th grade Celestial Emperor. Moreover, this escort quest seemed to be very easy, so it was fine to add a point. Tomorrow, they would leave the Lin clan's escort agency to escort something to a city. Yixian felt that this quest was not going to be easy. On the second day, Yixian met up with Ling Kai and joined Lin Qi's escort team. Previously, Ling Kai had told Lin Qi that Yixian was only the son of his friend. Therefore, Lin Qi did not take Yixian seriously and did not have time to deal with Yixian. He was just a bystander in the escort team. Apart from Lin Qi, who was a 7th grade Celestial Emperor, there were 4 6th grade Celestial Emperors and more than 10 5th grade Celestial Emperors escorting the escort team. The escort team would take about half a month. Yixian was mixed in with this group, acting as a bystander. The journey was very smooth. However, on the day that Yixian broke through to the 5th grade Celestial Emperor, something happened. Lin Qi's escort team was stopped by a group of bandits. "How dare you stop the escort team of the Lin clan's escort agency? Who gave you the courage?" Lin Qi stood at the front of the group and said to the group of bandits. The Lin family's escort agency would carry a large flag when they were transporting goods. This way, anyone who passed by would know which force they belonged to. This group of bandits had obviously seen it as well, but they still chose to stop it. They probably had ill intentions. "Ha ha ha, Lin's escort agency, I'm so scared." The leader of the bandits laughed out loud. In their group there were 3 rank 6 immortal emperors. The rest of them were rank 5 immortal emperors and rank 4 immortal emperors. If they were to fight, they might be able to win. "If you know what's good for you, get out of the way. Otherwise, I'll kill you all." Lin Qi was furious. Since they knew that they were from the Lin family's escort agency, how dare they stop them? They were courting death. "Let's not waste any more time. Brothers, get ready. We're going to rob them." The man in the lead shouted and took out his weapon. "You are courting death." Lin Qi glared and took the initiative to attack. Xiu! 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 Immediately, the flying swords of both sides began to clash. As the only rank 7 immortal emperor, Lin Qi naturally took the lead and chose to kill his way into the group of bandits. His sword was not to be controlled, but to be held in his hand. Lin Qi was a sword celestial. Damn it, he's a sword celestial. Let's go. When the man in the lead saw this, his expression changed greatly and he quickly retreated. "It's too late to leave now." Lin Qi shouted angrily and slashed with his sword. In an instant, the leader of the bandits was split into 2. In the group of bandits, the other 2 men were so scared that their faces turned pale. They thought that they were evenly matched, but they did not expect the gap between them to be so big. "Don't kill us, we were asked by someone." A rank 6 immortal emperor bandit shouted hastily. "Asked by someone?" When Lin Qi heard this, he was slightly surprised. Even he, a rank 7 immortal emperor, could receive this flying dart. Who was targeting them? The bandit nodded and said, Yes, it was a man in black. He was at least a rank 8 immortal emperor. He asked us to rob you, otherwise, he would destroy our group of bandits." A man in black, A rank 8 immortal emperor? Lin Chi squinted his eyes. He felt that the other party was lying. However, when he thought of the strength of the Lin clan's escort agency, the other party might be afraid of the Lin clan's escort agency, so he asked others to help. This seemed to make sense. Humph, if that's the case, then die. Lin Chi snorted coldly. The long sword in his hand fell and killed the bandit. The strength of a sword celestial was not something that ordinary people could withstand. Soon, this group of bandits was destroyed by Lin Chi's guards. However, this group of bandits did not give them any clues. Someone actually wants to rob my dart, he's courting death. Lin Chi snorted coldly again. He looked around and did not find anyone suspicious. However, this did not guarantee that the rank 8 immortal emperor was not nearby. Although the Lin clan's escort agency was big, there were still many cases of robberies. Some succeeded and some failed. However, Yi Xian felt that this time it was not that simple. Before he could remind Ling Kai, an aura enveloped everyone. What a bunch of trash. It seems that I have to take action. Suddenly, an old voice sounded. Then, a man in black entered everyone's sight. Lin Chi and the others looked over and sensed. A rank 8 immortal emperor? No, a rank 9 immortal emperor. You're the one who threatened them to rob the Lin clan's escort agency? Lin Chi asked with narrowed eyes. That's me. The man in black replied coldly. How dare you? Lin Chi shouted. A rank 9 immortal emperor was 2 realms higher than a rank 7 immortal emperor. Even if he was a sword celestial, it would be difficult for him to fight. This is a serious matter. Let's not talk nonsense. Let's end this quickly. The man in black thought for a while and attacked directly. Whoosh! 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 A strong wind blew. Lin Chi and the others did not expect the man in black to attack without any warning. It seemed that he did not care about the Lin clan's escort agency at all. However, an expert of this realm was not afraid of a group battle. Among the people present, only Lin Chi could fight against him. Ling Kai, take the escorts and leave. I'll hold him back. Lin Chi threw an interspatial ring to Ling Kai, who was behind him. This interspatial ring was the item that the employer requested to be escorted to the destination. However, there was a formation on the interspatial ring. Without special means, it could not be opened. Okay. Ling Kai also knew that they could not help. After catching the interspatial ring, he quickly turned around and left. Humph, you want to leave? The man in black snorted. He left Lin Chi behind and charged toward Ling Kai. You want to chase after me? Have you asked for my sword's permission? Lin Chi swallowed an elixir. This was a type of elixir that could greatly increase one's strength. However, it was very damaging to one's immortal heart. It was possible that he would not be able to break through in the future. Chapter 1808. Ling Kai took the Qiankuan ring and immediately left with the rest. The Lin escort agency's method of protection was similar to the Ling escort agency's. If they were robbed, they would first hand the item to someone else. Then they would use a camouflage to escape in different directions. This way they could confuse the pursuers. On the other hand, Yi Xian, a 5th grade immortal venerable, was a little strange in this team. After all, the weakest among them was a 5th grade immortal emperor, which was a full realm higher than him. However, when Ling Kai escaped, he only brought Yi Xian with him. Yi Xian was actually very confused. This should be the second round of the chain random mission. However, the system only asked him to follow Lin Chi, and did not specify anything else. It seemed that the time had not come yet. What exactly is this item? Yi Xian was very curious. What was it that made a 9th grade immortal emperor so cautious? However, just a minute after Ling Kai left with Yi Xian. Ding! The host has triggered the 3rd round of the chain random mission. Kill the man in black and take back the item. The chain random mission actually skipped the 2nd round and arrived at the 3rd round. What was going on? Just now, he had already issued a death pursuit order to the man in black. Not only that, but Lin Chi also had one. However, now he saw that the targets of these 2 death pursuit order were getting further and further away. Thinking of the difference in realm between Lin Chi and the man in black, Yi Xian had a guess. Lin Chi might have been injured by the man in black and was escaping. However, if that was the case, why did the man in black not chase after him? Suddenly, Yi Xian seemed to have thought of something and hurriedly sent a message. Ling Kai, look at this Qiankuan ring. What is in it? There is an array on it, Ling Kai said instinctively. Give it to me. Yi Xian immediately snatched the Qian Kuan ring and threw it into the planting space. He asked the 9th grade Immortal Emperor in the planting space to help. The 9th grade Immortal Emperor could only listen to Yi Xian's instructions in the planting space. He quickly broke the Qian Kuan ring. Although there were many good items in the Cosmos ring, it was not enough for a 9th grade Celestial Emperor to take action. This Cosmos ring is just a smokescreen. The real dart should still be on Lin Qi. Yi Xian's expression changed. Just now, the immortal level devouring system had notified him to kill the black-robed man and then take back the goods. This meant that the goods were already in the hands of the man in black. In other words, what Lin Qi threw to Ling Kai was a fake delivery, and the real delivery was still with Lin Qi. However, the black-clothed man saw through this and took the real goods from Lin Qi. Lin Qi was seriously injured and then fled. Therefore, the two targets of the death warrant were moving in opposite directions. Ling Kai, you go back first. After Yi Xian finished speaking to Ling Kai, he directly broke through the void and returned to the place where he met the black-clothed man. This black-clothed person's speed was very fast. Relying on his realm, there was no way he could catch up no matter what. I can only chase after him slowly. I hope that he will stop and crack the array on the Cosmos ring. Yi Xian thought to himself. Coincidentally, Wei Zhenqian could change to the Immortal Ascension steps today, so his speed was quite fast. With the death warrant, Yi Xian would not lose track of the black-clothed man. However, it would not be so easy to take back the goods from the hands of a 9th grade Immortal Emperor. I am now a 5th grade Immortal Venerable. Old Tree, Azura Ghost, Wei Zhenqian and Heavenbreaker are all 9th grade Immortal Venerables. Wait for me to make a breakthrough. Heavenbreaker should have an 80% chance of killing the black-clothed man. Yi Xian thought to himself. Heavenbreaker's strength was above Luo Luo, who had already broken through to the 1st grade Immortal Emperor realm. When he put on the Mystic Divine Battle Armor, he would definitely be able to retrieve the goods. However, the black-clothed man had to be able to stop. Yi Xian chased after the black-clothed man for a few days. During this time, his cultivation had also broken through from the 5th grade Immortal Venerable to the 6th grade Immortal Venerable. Old Tree, Azura Ghost, Wei Zhenqian and Heavenbreaker had also reached the 1st grade Immortal Emperor realm. Now Yi Xian was confident. Coincidentally, the black-clothed man stopped after running for 2 days. It seemed like he was trying to crack the array on the Qian Kuan ring. He stopped. I hope that he will stop running. Otherwise, how am I going to catch up with him? Yi Xian thought to himself and continued to chase after the black-clothed man. At this time, Wei Zhenqian had already broken through to the 1st grade Immortal Emperor realm. The speed of the Immortal Ascension Steps Cloud Shoes was astonishingly fast. Yi Xian estimated that it would take another 3 days for him to catch up. During these 3 days, Yi Xian had been paying attention to the black-clothed man's movements. Just as Yi Xian had hoped, the black-clothed man did not move. After 3 days, Yi Xian finally caught up with the black-clothed man. The black-clothed man is hiding underground. He should still be trying to crack the array on the Qian Kuan ring. Yi Xian thought to himself. Then he said to Old Tree, Old Tree, beat him out of there. All right. Old Tree nodded and swooped down. After a while, the ground started to shake violently. Then Yi Xian heard a few system notifications. Ding! Azura Ghost Lord and Yanming Ghostly Lord are dead. Ding! Azura Ghost Lord and Yanming Ghostly Lord are revived. Both Old Tree and Azura Ghost Lord were killed by the 9th grade Immortal Emperor below. This was within Yi Xian's expectations. When Old Tree and Azura Ghost Lord joined forces, they could only fight against an 8th grade Immortal Emperor without the Mystic Divine Armor. The one below was a 9th grade Immortal Emperor. It was only natural that he would be killed. However, Yi Xian's aim was to lure the black-clothed man out. Indeed, not long after Old Tree and Azura Ghost Lord died, the black-clothed man broke through the ground. He was holding the Qian Kuan ring in his hand. 6th grade Immortal Master? The black-clothed man was shocked. A mere 6th grade Immortal Master dared to find trouble with him? However, what shocked the black-clothed man was that Yi Xian was able to find him. Was it a coincidence or something else? I remember you. You were in that team. What do you want? The black-clothed man said coldly. To be honest, he was interested in Yixian. A 6th grade immortal master was like an ant in his eyes. However, he was able to remain calm when facing him. It seemed like he was not an ordinary person. What do I want? Hearing this, Yixian's lips curled up slightly. Then he said slowly, "Of course I want to kill you." When the word "you" was heard, the sky-splitting divine ape, who was wearing the mystic divine armor, was finally summoned by Yixian. A 1st-grade demon emperor sky-splitting divine ape, wearing the mystic divine armor, its combat power was off the charts. What? The black-clothed man had just reacted when he saw 108 rod shadows coming towards him. These 108 rod shadows were very fast. The black-clothed man had just reacted when he was hit. Bam! 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 All 108 rod shadows hit the black-clothed man's body. His shoulder was instantly smashed into pieces. Even his immortal heart was shattered. Chapter 1809. Ding! Host's killing intent has increased. When the system beeped, Yixian had already rushed over and kept the Qiankuan ring and the Qiankuan ring. Ding! Host has completed the chain random task. System rewards 1000 severing slash to advance once and unicorn to advance once. The chain random task was finally completed. Moreover, the rewards of this chain random mission were simply too good to be true. 1000 severing slash had advanced once before, and required 2 devour points to advance again. Now the triggering rate was higher and it could vibrate 3000 times in an instant. This was very important for Yixian to challenge those of a higher level. Moreover, unicorn to advance again required 4 devour points. Now Yixian could directly summon level 2 unicorn, which was very good. Let me see what is in this Qiankuan ring. Yixian immediately asked the celestial level devour system to analyze the array on the Qiankuan ring. Ding! Deciphering the array will take 2 days. Do you want to decipher it now? Yes. Yixian immediately agreed. He could still wait for 2 days. At the same time, during these 2 days, Yixian's cultivation had risen to the 7th grade of the immortal sovereign realm, while Old Shu, Azura, Wei Zhenqian, and the heaven-breaking divine ape had all become 2nd grade immortal emperors. Now they should be invincible among those who were not a half-step immortal. 2 days later. Ding! Deciphering the array is successful. The system beeped. Hearing this, Yixian quickly checked the Qiankuan ring, and found that there was nothing in it. No, there was something. It was a black scale the size of a fingernail and it seemed to be broken. It should be half a scale. Yixian immediately used the celestial level devour system to analyze it. Ding! This item is a dragon scale. It turned out that it was just a dragon scale. However, if it was just a dragon scale, how could it attract the attention of a level 9 immortal emperor? Could it be that there was something fishy? Yixian played with it for a while but did not find anything special. However, this black dragon scale could not be devoured. How strange. In his astonishment, Yixian investigated the universe ring of the black-clothed man to see who he was. An elder of the Cold Star sect? After a quick search, Yixian confirmed the other party's identity. This 9th grade immortal emperor was an elder of the Cold Star sect. However, other than that, there was nothing else useful. He still didn't know what this dragon scale was for. By the way, someone entrusted Lin's escort agency to escort this dragon scale. We can start from the employer or the destination of the escort. Yixian's eyes lit up. This dragon scale indeed belonged to the Lin family's escort agency. However, it had been snatched away by the man in black, and Yixian had snatched it back. Therefore, Yixian didn't want to return it to the Lin escort agency. After all, he felt that this dragon scale was very unusual. Let's go back to Lin's escort agency and take a look. Yixian thought to himself as he prepared to break through the void and return to Lin's escort agency. However, right at this moment, ding! The target of the death hunt order is dead. Suddenly, a system notification rang out, causing Yixian to freeze on the spot. The target of the death hunt order was dead? Previously, Yixian had marked the little demon king of chaos, the black-clothed man, and Lin Qi. The little demon king of chaos was fine in the planting space. The black-clothed man was already dead. So this time, the one who died was Lin Qi. Isn't that the Lin family's escort agency? Yixian was shocked. He was about to break through the void when he suddenly stopped. Lin Qi had died near the Lin family's escort agency. What was going on? Yixian glanced at it and found that he could use the time reversal skill. Therefore, he broke through the void and arrived near the Lin family's escort agency. ****. Find him. You must find him. A loud shout entered Yixian's ears. Following that, waves of powerful auras appeared. There were dozens of people, all of whom were high-level immortal emperors. Moreover, there were 3 auras that were more powerful than the 9th grade immortal emperor elder of the Cold Star sect. Half-step enlightened masters. Gulp. Yixian swallowed his saliva. Looking at the destroyed Lin family's escort agency, he suddenly realized what had happened. The Lin family's escort agency was destroyed. No wonder Lin Qi was dead. So this was the reason. Kid, what are you doing? Suddenly, a voice entered Yixian's ears. Oh no. Hearing this, Yixian's expression changed drastically. Although the person who came was an 8th grade immortal emperor, there were still many experts patrolling the area. Once the battle started, he would have to face the 3 half-step immortal emperors. Humph, you destroyed the Lin family's escort agency. I will avenge Ling Kai. Yixian's eyes widened. Killing intent flashed in his eyes. He should be able to kill 3 half-step immortal emperors. Although he could reverse time, he might not be able to take revenge only once. The only thing he could do now was to kill. Patian, kill them. Yixian roared. In the next moment, the divine ape of heaven splitting appeared. It directly smashed the 8th grade immortal emperor into pieces. Heaven shocking 108 strikes. The divine ape of heaven splitting was a 2nd grade demon emperor. After wearing the mystic divine armor, its combat strength was extraordinary. A 9th grade immortal emperor only needed 1 strike. What? Not far away, the 3 half-step immortal emperors were shocked. They did not know where the divine ape of heaven splitting came from. However, the divine ape of heaven splitting's attack was enough to threaten them. I didn't expect the Lin family's escort agency to have such an immortal beast. We can capture it and bring it back to the sect leader. The leader of the half-step immortal emperor sent a message to the other 2. Then they charged forward. Fight! The divine ape of heaven splitting, the old tree, Azura Ghost Lord and Luo Luo were enough to fight against the 3 half-step immortal emperors. If they were to compare, Yixian's side had the upper hand. Me too. Heavenly Fire 3 Mysterious Change 3rd Change. In an instant, Yixian's cultivation realm broke through from the 7th grade immortal emperor to the 9th grade immortal emperor. Due to his high cultivation realm, the Heavenly Fire 3 Mysterious Change only increased by 2 realms. However, this was already good enough. Being a 9th grade immortal emperor and having the slaughter status increased by 6 times, his strength was not bad. Immortal Slaying Sword Formation Rise. Yixian and the others began a frenzied slaughter. Although the 3 half-step immortal emperors were strong, they were not as strong as the divine ape of heaven splitting. In less than 5 seconds, the 3 of them were defeated and killed one by one. Yixian immediately rushed over and collected their interspatial rings. They are all from the Frigid Star sect. Yixian squinted his eyes slightly. The 3 half-step immortal emperors and the 9th grade immortal emperors were all elders of the Frigid Star sect. So was the man in black from before. It seemed that the Frigid Star sect knew what the dragon scale was. However, before that it was better to turn back time. Previously, he had spent 2 days deciphering the formation. Coincidentally, the Lin family's escort agency was destroyed. Chapter 1810. Time Reversal. Yixian immediately used his divine technique and returned to the moment when the black-clothed man died. Although I haven't deciphered the interspatial ring, I already know what's inside. It won't be a problem later, Yixian said in his heart. Then he broke through the void and returned to Lin's escort agency. The people of Lin's escort agency recognized Yixian, so they immediately let Yixian in. Ling Kai and Lin Qi had already returned. They were discussing how to deal with the situation. After all, they had lost their mission. However, they didn't understand that the mission this time was very important. In 2 days' time they would be annihilated. Ling Kai, tell Lin's escort agency that the Frigid Star sect will send 3 half-step enlightened masters to destroy Lin's escort agency at noon 2 days later. Yixian directly transmitted to Ling Kai through voice transmission. What? Ling Kai was shocked. 3 half-step enlightened masters from Frigid Star Sect were going to destroy Lin's escort agency? I think the interspatial ring you lost belongs to Frigid Star Sect. Now that you've lost it, they'll come looking for you. Yixian transmitted through voice transmission. What should we do now? Ling Kai was silent. Don't worry. I'll help you get through 2 days later. Yixian said. In 2 days' time, his cultivation base would increase to 7th grade Immortal Venerable. At that time, the sky-breaking ape god and the others would be able to reenact the scene before time reversal. Previously, he was 1 step slower. He only broke through the void and returned after hearing the notification of Lin Qi's death. Now he was guarding Lin's escort agency, waiting for the arrival of Frigid Star Sect. He was now a 7th grade Immortal Venerable. As long as the people of Frigid Star Sect came, he would kill them all. In these 2 days, Lin's escort agency didn't do anything. Although Ling Kai had passed on Yixian's message, the other party didn't take it seriously. How could a mere escort agency destroy Lin's escort agency? However, the employer didn't come. Sure enough, 2 days later. Not good. A large group of people came from the northwest. All of them are high-level immortal emperors. There are also 3 half-step enlightened masters. An expert from the Lin's escort agency rushed in. The entire Lin's escort agency was in an uproar. Could it be that what Ling Kai said before was true? Why was the item in the dart so precious? Lin's escort agency's branch leader, come out. A half-step Taoist master who was killed by the sky-breaking godly ape shouted in the sky above the Lin family's escort agency. Then the elites of the Lin escort agency leaped out one by one. One of them was the leader of the Lin escort agency, Lin Miao. You are? Lin Miao asked in surprise. However, the other party did not answer his question. Instead, he took out a portrait and said, "This person, was he the one who asked you to carry the goods?" Lin Miao glanced at the portrait but didn't recognize it. However, his grandson, Lin Qi, recognized it because the person in the portrait was his employer. "Your Excellency, are you here with ill intentions?" Lin Miao asked directly. "Cut the crap and hand over the dart. Otherwise, the entire Lin's escort agency will be in chaos." The half-step perfected person in the lead said. This sentence was indeed a threat to Lin Miao, but the Lin's escort agency was a company of integrity. Firstly, they could not reveal the employer's identity. Secondly, they could protect the dart with all their might. Back then, when the employer asked Lin Qi to carry the goods, he only said that there was something important inside. However, he did not choose the highest level escorts. Under normal circumstances, the more precious the item was, the more powerful the person would choose to escort it. However, this employer only hired Lin Qi and a few rank 6 celestial emperors. Naturally, no one would take it seriously. Unexpectedly, this was a smokescreen. Even the half-step perfected person wanted the item inside. This was troublesome. Lin Miao was sure that this was a disaster for the Lin's escort agency. If they did not handle this properly, they might really be wiped out. Helplessly, he could only compromise. He said, "That dart was delivered a few days ago. However, it was robbed by a rank 9 celestial emperor in black. My grandson was injured because of it." A man in black? The half-step perfected person in the lead was shocked. They had indeed sent some elders out. Could it be that some of the elders had found out and retrieved the item? Of course, he did not fully believe it. Just in case, he had to take some action. "Kill them." The half-step perfected person in the lead shouted. "What?" When Lin Miao heard this, he immediately drew his weapon. It seemed that today's battle was unavoidable. That day, Yixian did not warn the Lin's escort agency. Hence, the Lin's escort agency was wiped out. After turning back time, although Yixian did warn them, the Lin's escort agency did not take it seriously. However, Yixian was nearby today. With him around, the Lin's escort agency should not have a problem surviving this disaster. "Little monkey, it's your turn." In the distance, Yixian summoned the sky-splitting divine ape and charged over. Previously, they had wiped out the Cold Star Sect's team by themselves. Today, with the help of Lin Miao and the others, it was naturally easier. The sky-splitting divine ape charged into the crowd and smashed anyone from the Cold Star Sect on sight. What? The 3 half-step perfected person were shocked. Before they could react, 2 rank 9 celestial emperors had died. How was this possible? In their plan, they would kill Lin Miao and the others and search their souls. However, they did not expect that a little monkey would suddenly appear and threaten them. Lin Miao was filled with fighting spirit when he saw that help had arrived. Although he was afraid of the Cold Star sect's background, the other party wanted to wipe out the Lin's escort agency. No matter what, he had to fight. The sky-splitting divine ape strength was terrifying. It suppressed the 3 half-step perfected person while fighting 1 against 3. With Lin Miao's help, it finished off the 3 half-step perfected person faster than before. As for the others, they were quickly dealt with by Old Tree and the others. This battle was much faster than before. After this battle, Lin Miao and the others from the Lin's escort agency were shocked. The team that threatened them this time was much stronger than the Lin's escort agency. There were 3 half-step perfected person. Originally, the Lin's escort agency was supposed to be wiped out. However, now that the other party was dead, they heaved a sigh of relief. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Yixian quickly cleaned up the battlefield. This time he had helped the Lin's escort agency. Naturally, the spoils of war belonged to him. Lin Miao, Uncle Li Lin Qi, and the others were all stunned when they saw Yixian come out. Yixian had helped them resolve the disaster just now? Go! One had to know that Yixian had asked Ling Kai to remind them. However, they did not take it seriously and thought that it was just a normal escort. After all, the employer was only a rank 7 celestial emperor. The goods could not be that good. At most, they would just have to compensate. However, they did not expect that the escort would be so important that the Cold Star sect directly sent 3 half-step perfected person. Chapter 1811. Alright, the matter is settled, but I'm afraid the Frigid Star sect won't let this go. It's up to you whether you want to leave or stay. Yixian turned to look at Lin Miao and the others. The reason he helped the Lin clan's escort agency was because of Ling Kai. Otherwise, he wouldn't have bothered to turn back time. With that, Yixian left Lin Miao, Lin Qi, and the others with a handsome back view. This time he was going to the Frigid Star sect to investigate the Black Dragon Scale and find out what kind of treasure it was. He speculated that the Black Dragon Scale might have been the Frigid Star sect's treasure. But it was stolen by a thief and the Frigid Star sect sent a large number of experts to search for it. The black-clothed man was an elder of the Frigid Star sect. After obtaining the treasure, he might have wanted to keep it for himself. Thinking about it, it was indeed possible. However, Yixian would have to wait for the Frigid Star sect to figure out how to use the Black Dragon Scale. At their current speed, it would take them a few days. During this time, Yixian's cultivation level increased again, reaching the 8th grade of the Celestial Venerable Realm. Old Tree, Azura Ghost Lord, Wei Zhentian, and the Skybreaking Ape God were all 3rd grade Celestial Emperors. The sect master of the Frigid Star sect seemed to be a 2nd grade half-step perfected being, nicknamed the Frigid Star Sage. However, apart from him, a 2nd stage half-step enlightened being, there were only 2 1st stage half-step enlightened beings left. With the Skybreaking Ape God's strength, it wouldn't be a problem to destroy the Frigid Star sect. Of course, Yixian wanted to find out the use of the Black Dragon Scale before he destroyed the Frigid Star sect. Perhaps he would spare their lives then. Soon Yixian arrived at the Frigid Star sect. This sect had only risen recently and was not considered weak. Since you have the strength, there's no need to be afraid. Let's just go. Yixian summoned Old Tree, Azura Ghost Lord, Wei Zhentian and Luo Luo. Kill. In an instant, Old Tree and the others charged in. Who are you? The guarding disciples of the Frigid Star sect shouted angrily. However, these disciples were only 5th or 6th grade Celestial Emperors. They were unable to stop Old Tree and the others. Super Devour. Yixian followed behind the Old Tree and used Super Devour on these people, forcibly sucking them into his planting space. Ever since the establishment of the Frigid Star sect, no one had ever dared to brazenly trespass. After Yixian and the others rushed in, a few 9th grade Immortal Emperor elders came out to kill them. Which scoundrel dares to FF? Before an elder could finish his words, Old Tree sent him flying with a punch. At the same time, his arm was ripped off and his interspatial ring was taken away by Yixian. The Old Tree was now a 3rd stage Demon Emperor. In addition, he had been strengthened by the soul-generating liquid from the Necromancer kettle, so his physique was extremely tough. He could easily fight opponents 6 levels above him. A mere ninth-grade celestial emperor was nothing in his eyes. The surrounding people were dumbfounded. They could feel that Old Tree's cultivation was not high, but he was able to send a ninth-grade celestial emperor elder flying with a punch. How was this possible? Immediately, someone sent an order to the two half-step perfected persons elders and the sect master of the Frigid Star sect. However, at this moment, where is the sect master of the Frigid Star sect? Yixian shouted angrily. After a while, 3 figures rushed out. All of them were half-step perfected persons. One of them was a middle-aged man who was a second-grade half-step perfected person. Who are you? The sect master of the Frigid Star sect could not help but ask when he saw Yixian. Yixian didn't answer this question. Instead, he directly took out the half of the black dragon scale and said, "This half of the dragon scale is in my hands. As far as I know, this originally belonged to your Cold Star sect?" The higher-ups of the Frigid Star sect were shocked when they saw the half-dragon scale. "You're the thief?" The sect master of the Frigid Star sect trembled. "I don't know who stole it, but I got it from your Cold Star sect's elder. No matter what, this thing is mine now. I came here to ask you guys, what exactly is this dragon scale?" Yixian directly asked. This half-dragon scale was originally a treasure of the Frigid Star sect. Not only did Yixian get his hands on it, but he even came here to ask how to use it. This was a little too arrogant. A mere celestial venerable dares to speak to the sect master like this? A half-step perfected person shouted angrily. "If you know what's good for you, hand over the dragon scale yourself. Perhaps the sect master will spare your life." Another half-step perfected person said. As for the sect master of the Frigid Star sect, he did not speak. He just watched coldly. An 8th-grade celestial venerable and several 3rd-grade celestial emperors dared to attack the Frigid Star sect. If one were to say that Yixian didn't have a background, that would be absolutely impossible. Before the sect master of the Frigid Star sect could speak, Yixian said coldly, "Since you won't speak, I'll have to do it myself. Go." Yixian did not waste time with the other party. He immediately ordered the Old Tree and the others to attack. Shameless boasting. A half-step perfected person elder shouted angrily. He charged toward Yixian, preparing to take back the dragon scale. However, in the next moment he was in trouble. Nether soul-shattering strike. Grasp of the underworld. Claw of the demon god. Old Tree Azura Ghost Lord, and Luo launched a joint attack. At the same time, Luo put on the mystic divine armor. After putting on the mystic divine armor, her combat strength skyrocketed. Bang! Amidst a few screams, the half-step perfected person's chest was penetrated, and he died immediately. When his corpse fell from the sky, the surrounding people were so shocked that they could not speak. Even the sect master of the Frigid Star sect doubted his own eyes. A half-step perfected person was killed by a few juniors who were not even 5th-grade celestial emperors. How was this possible? In fact, the Old Tree and Azura Ghost Lord's attacks were not too bad. The truly powerful one was Luo. Luo was a heavenly loathsome fox, and she was 1 grade higher than the Old Tree and Azura Ghost Lord. She was also wearing the mystic divine armor. Her strength was actually enough to fight against the sky-splitting divine ape. Of course, this was referring to the sky-splitting divine ape without the mystic divine armor. "Bastard, you're courting death." The sect master of the Frigid Star sect was furious. He immediately joined forces with another half-step perfected person and charged toward Yixian and the others. However, the real trump card was yet to come. Sky-splitting divine ape. Yixian's eyes flashed. Sky-splitting appeared beside Luo. Then, the mystic divine armor that Wei Zhentian had transformed into turned around and donned on sky-splitting. Although sky-splitting was a 4th-grade celestial emperor, his strength was much stronger than Luo, who was a 5th-grade celestial emperor. Heaven's startling 108 rod strikes. 108 stick shadows fell from the sky and smashed into that 1st-grade half-step enlightened being with lightning speed. Bang! This half-step perfected person of the Frigid Star sect's body directly exploded, and he died instantly. Chapter 1812. Sect Master of the Frigid Star sect, I advise you to surrender. Otherwise, you'll be the next one to die. Yixian's voice rang out slowly. The sect master of the Frigid Star sect raised an eyebrow. He felt that he was in deep trouble this time. What do you want? The sect master of the Frigid Star sect asked through gritted teeth. I told you that I'm here to ask questions, Yixian said and took out the dragon scale again. If it weren't for his low cultivation level, he would have killed the sect master of the Frigid Star sect and searched his soul. Although he had plenty of time in the planting space, he couldn't search the sect master's soul there, so it was better to ask questions. The sect master of the Frigid Star sect thought for a moment and asked, If I tell you, will you leave? No, I'll at least rob you before leaving, but I'll leave you alive. Yixian shook his head. You? The sect master of the Frigid Star sect was about to explode from anger, but he felt that he couldn't win against Yixian and the others, so he decided to compromise. I found this half of the dragon scale by chance when I was traveling outside. After studying it, I realized that it would make my attacks stronger. Unexpectedly, it was stolen by a thief. The sect master of the Frigid Star sect replied. Studying the dragon scale will make your attacks stronger? Yixian was confused. How could this dragon scale have such an effect? What about the other half of the dragon scale? Yixian asked again. The other half is with my cousin. When we found it, it was already in 2 pieces. The sect master of the Frigid Star sect said. Your cousin? Where? Yixian narrowed his eyes. I'm from the Fenghua family, so is my cousin. However, the Fenghua family is much stronger than the Frigid Star sect. The sect master of the Frigid Star sect suddenly said. Yixian knew that the sect master wanted to use the Fenghua family to pressure him, but it wouldn't work. Fine, in that case I won't destroy the Frigid Star sect, but, Yixian said, then his mind moved. The sky-breaking ape god suddenly attacked. What? The sect master of the Frigid Star sect had not expected Yixian to go back on his word, but he did not know that Yixian was playing with words. Yixian wouldn't destroy the Frigid Star sect, but Yixian would absorb the entire Frigid Star sect into the planting space. The sky-breaking ape god went all out, and the sect master of the Frigid Star sect was instantly subdued. Then the sect master was severely wounded, and Yixian put him into the planting space under threats and promises. Then, the other members of the Frigid Star sect were naturally taken into the planting space as well. Once they entered the planting space, their lives would no longer be in their hands. Now, even Yixian had a way to deal with the sect master of the Frigid Star sect. The Windfire family has a rank 4 half-step enlightened being. The sect master's cousin, Fenghua, is the young master of the Windfire family, a rank 3 half-step enlightened being. Yixian thought to himself. A rank 4 half-step enlightened being wasn't something he could deal with now. However, a little more time would be enough for him. I didn't expect this half of the dragon scale to have such an effect. After studying it for a while, I found that when I attacked there was a strange black energy that increased my attack power. Yixian was very surprised. He didn't notice it before, but now that he thought about it, the attacks of those half-step enlightened beings did have such an ability. At that time, he thought it was because of the Frigid Star sect's moves. Yixian let the old tree, Azura Ghost Lord, and the others study the dragon scale together. He didn't expect to obtain such a treasure that could increase their overall combat power by a lot. The Frigid Star sect was quite a distance away from the Windfire family, but with the old tree's speed, 7 days was enough. A few days later. Ding! Host has broken through. Currently, you are a rank 9 immortal venerable. Ding! Inferno Ghostly Lord, Azura Ghost Lord, Wei Zhentian and Skybreaking Ape God have broken through. Currently, you are a rank 4 immortal emperor. Yixian and the others broke through again. Now they didn't lack cultivation resources at all, and could break through every once in a while. Although he had bewitched points, his current cultivation speed was much faster than before. Soon he arrived at the Windfire family. The Windfire family wasn't weak, and was 100 times stronger than the Frigid Star sect. If he rushed in recklessly, it would be impossible. Therefore, Yixian decided to find the cousin of the sect master of the Frigid Star sect and control him. Originally, Yixian wanted to control the sect master of the Frigid Star sect. However, the gap between Yixian and him was too big, and the soul I couldn't control him. Therefore, he could only use other methods. Fortunately, there were still some young people in the Windfire family who hadn't reached the Immortal Emperor realm. Ding! Control successful. Yixian casually controlled one of them, and then disguised himself as him to infiltrate the Windfire family. The person I controlled is called Feng Huiyuan. His seniority is too low, so he probably won't be able to meet Feng Huiyuan. Yixian thought inwardly. He had been wandering around the Windfire family for an entire day, but he still couldn't find a way to approach Feng Huiyuan. Since that was the case, he could only make a scene. Old Tree, you guys focus on the third stage half-step Taoist master and find Feng Huiyuan, Yixian said to the others. Understood. Old Tree nodded. Half a dragon scale already had such an effect. If it was a whole one, the effect would be even greater. After Old Tree and the others appeared, they locked onto the aura and rushed toward the nearest third stage Taoist master. As for Yixian, he chose to continue hiding. Who is it? A strange aura suddenly appeared in the sky above the Windfire family, and it immediately attracted the attention of the Windfire family's experts. At first, it was just a few high-level immortal emperors, but these people weren't a match for Old Tree and the others. Therefore, the next ones to move were half-step Taoist masters. The fourth stage immortal emperor Old Tree's strength was comparable to a first stage half-step Taoist master, and Luo Luo could fight against a second stage half-step Taoist master. In addition, they still had the heaven-splitting divine ape, which was their trump card, so they had the strength to instantly kill a third stage half-step Taoist master. After all, they didn't even have the mystic divine armor. The Windfire family had a total of 3 third stage half-step Taoist masters, so Yixian had a 1/3 chance of finding them. However, his luck wasn't very good. The first one he encountered wasn't Feng Huiyuan, but someone else. Although Yixian wanted to change his target, the third stage half-step Taoist master was already pestering him. Therefore, Yixian had no choice but to summon the heaven-splitting divine ape to fight. However, while they were fighting, the old ancestor of the Windfire family came out. Helpless, Yixian and the others could only be forcefully recalled by Yixian. Those people, where did they come from? The people of the Windfire family were full of questions. How could they appear out of nowhere and then disappear? At this time, in a corner of the Windfire family. Let's wait a few more days. Wait until I break through to the Immortal Emperor realm. Then we'll fight again. Chapter 1813. Several days later, Yixian successfully broke through to rank 1 Immortal Emperor. As for the Old Tree and the others, they were rank 5 Immortal Emperors. Luo Luo was rank 6 Demon Emperor. Moreover, the heaven-breaking ape god had fully recovered and could fight again. That day, Yixian had found the wrong person. Today there were only 2 targets left. Thus, there was a 50% chance of finding the right person. As long as he found Feng Huiyuan and forcibly took the ring, his mission would be complete. There's a rank 3 true master in both the north and the west. Let's find the one in the north. Yixian narrowed his eyes and summoned the Old Tree and the others again. The appearance of this aura immediately attracted the attention of the Feng Huo family's upper echelons. Previously, they had been disturbed by the Old Tree and the others. Although they didn't die, they were robbed of a lot of their belongings and most importantly their face. This time they must capture the Old Tree. However, this time Yixian was right. This time his target was the cousin of the sect master of the Icy Star sect, Feng Huiyuan. Found you. Heaven-breaking go. Yixian raised his eyebrows and summoned the heaven-breaking ape god. The moment it appeared, it ruthlessly smashed at Feng Huiyuan. Heaven-shocking 108 stick strikes. This move instantly injured Feng Huiyuan. This was after the heaven-breaking ape god had shown mercy. Otherwise, Feng Huiyuan would have been instantly killed. Next, the Old Tree quickly flew over and took the ring. Then, Yixian cooperated with the planting space to take it back. Indeed, there was the other half of the dragon scale in the ring. Ding! The world-destroying dragon scale can be completed. Do you want to proceed? Hearing this, Yixian was slightly startled and immediately agreed. Ding! The world-destroying dragon scale is completed. Ding! The world-destroying dragon scale can fuse with the Azura Ghost Lord. Do you want to proceed? This time Yixian was shocked. The world-destroying dragon scale could fuse with the Azura Ghost Lord. In other words, the Azura Ghost Lord could advance again? Yixian almost laughed out loud. Of course he had to agree. Although comprehending the world-destroying dragon scale could increase one's attack, if the Azura Ghost Lord could advance again, its strength would definitely not be weak. Whatever fuse. Yixian opened his eyes wide. Ding! Fusion. Azura Ghost Lord has evolved into World Annihilation Ghost Dragon. Immortal I Unicorn Bloodline. This time he had really made a profit. Not only did he evolve the Immortal Emperor bloodline, the Unicorn Immortal evolve. An Immortal bloodline. One had to know that Yi Xian had just been able to summon a second-level Qilin. Now that he'd advanced once, he could summon a third-level Qilin. God. Scales was covered dragon scales Emma's. Was God. Was. Devil. Was. Although the Azura Ghost Lord's realm did not increase, Yi Xian knew that his strength had undergone a tremendous change. This was only the transformation of his form. His skills had also advanced. The grip of the underworld had evolved into the world-destroying dragon claw. The Eye of Azura had evolved into the Eye of Destruction. The Azura Divine Light, Azura Transformation and Azura Godslayer had evolved into the Black Dragon Flame Blast, Ghost Dragon Transformation, and World-Destroying Dragon Roar. World-Destroying Ghost Dragon. It's time for you to show off. Go. Yi Xian turned to the other side and set to the World-Destroying Ghost Dragon. In the next moment, the World-Destroying Ghost Dragon used the Ghost Dragon Transformation and turned into a huge black dragon. Previously, the Azura Ghost Lord needed Death Chi to use the Eye of Azura. Now he did not need it. Once the world-destroying Ghost Dragon transformed, the mighty black scales emitted a terrifying aura that suppressed everyone below the half-step Enlightened Master level. What is that? A third-grade half-step Enlightened Master of the Wind and Fire family saw the world-destroying Ghost Dragon. His body trembled violently. Before he could react, a black dragon's aura approached him. Black Dragon Flame Blast. In an instant, the third-grade half-step Enlightened Master was engulfed. However, he did not die. Although the world-destroying Ghost Dragon was much stronger, it was not at the level of the sky-splitting Divine Ape. However, this was not bad at all. Tisk tsk. Rip Goo's strength has left me in the dust again. Old Tree sneered and quickly took the interspatial ring. At the same time, the fourth-grade half-step Enlightened Master of the Wind and Fire family had also made his move. Where did this evil creature come from? How dare you behave so atrociously in my Wind and Fire family? The old ancestor of the Wind and Fire family roared in anger. At this moment, Yi Xian had also summoned the sky-splitting Divine Ape and went up to meet the old ancestor. So what if he was a fourth-grade half-step Enlightened Master? He would still beat him up. Now with the Mystic God Armor, the Old Tree, the world-destroying Ghost Dragon, and the sky-splitting Divine Ape were enough to fight the entire Wind and Fire family. The battle lasted for a long time. Because he did not want to start a massacre, Yi Xian held back a little. Otherwise, the entire Wind and Fire family would have been annihilated. Under the cooperation of the Old Tree, the world-destroying Ghost Dragon, and the sky-splitting Divine Ape, the entire Wind and Fire family was utterly defeated and quickly defeated. After the Old Tree and the rest had ransacked the Wind and Fire family, Yi Xian quickly put them away. The people of the Wind and Fire family felt that the Old Tree and the rest did not want to kill them. Adding on the fact that they were not strong enough, they ordered the Old Tree and the rest to ransack. What's going on? Where did this group of people come from? How did they come and go without a trace? How did they do it? The old ancestor of the Wind and Fire family was shocked. However, he already knew that the other party was not targeting the Wind and Fire family, but the half-black dragon scale in the Wind and Fire family. Although they had lost the half-black dragon scale, they were lucky to be able to protect the family. At this moment, Yi Xian, who was still hiding in the Wind and Fire family, could not help but smile. This time, the Azura Ghost Lord had evolved into the world-destroying Ghost Dragon. After transforming into a Ghost Dragon, his strength was actually on par with the sky-splitting Divine Ape. That was really awesome. However, the evolved world-destroying Ghost Dragon seemed to be unable to wear the mystic Divine Armor. Hence, its strength was still slightly weaker than the sky-splitting Divine Ape. However, Yi Xian felt that the world-destroying Ghost Dragon had hopes of surpassing the sky-splitting Divine Ape. This was because the Necromancer Kettle could continuously refine soul-generating liquid to increase the world-destroying Ghost Dragon's strength. Not only that, the evolved world-destroying Ghost Dragon was not in its complete form. It could still continuously merge with the world-destroying Dragon Scale. A complete Dragon Scale could increase the strength of the world-destroying Ghost Dragon by 1%. If it could obtain a piece of dragon bone, it could increase its strength by 10%. This world-destroying dragon scale, I wonder what kind of creature it is. It actually has such an effect. If there were 10,000 dragon scales, wouldn't the world-destroying ghost dragon's strength increase by 100 times? Yixian raised his eyebrows, his expression rippling. 100 times strength, how strong was that? Chapter 18:14. If the world-destroying ghostly dragon obtained 100 million world-destroying dragon scales, its strength would increase by 10,000 times. 10,000 times, what kind of concept was that? Yixian did not even dare to think about it. However, such a powerful object would definitely be accompanied by some troubles. Right at that moment, a suffocating aura suddenly descended. The moment this aura appeared, everyone in the Fenghua clan, including Yixian and the fourth stage half-step enlightened master, were unable to move. That's strange. Clearly felt it. Why did it disappear when I got here? A strange voice entered everyone's ears. This aura was so strong that even the fourth stage enlightened master Fenghua clan was suppressed. Its strength was definitely not that simple. Coincidentally, Yixian's eyes swept across a white figure in the air. It was a middle-aged man wearing white clothes. He's so strong. Could it be that he's an enlightened master? Yixian's Xianji immortal heart could not help but beat violently. At that moment he was unable to move. If someone were to harm him, he would be in trouble. No, that's impossible. The Black Destruction Dragon has been exterminated for many years. What I felt should be the dragon scales scattered everywhere. The middle-aged man shook his head again. This sentence still entered everyone's ears. When Yixian heard it, he could not help but think of the world-destroying ghostly dragon. That dragon scale was the Black Destruction Dragon scale? From this middle-aged man's words, it seemed that the Black Destruction Dragon had been exterminated by someone. Its corpse had been divided up, and its scales were scattered everywhere. With this, Yixian was certain that this middle-aged man was attracted by the world-destroying ghostly dragon. After all, the world-destroying ghostly dragon was the product of the fusion of the Black Destruction Dragon's dragon scales. At that moment, Yixian felt the restraints on his body suddenly disappear. When he focused his eyes, he saw that the middle-aged man in white had already left. Huff huff. Yixian let out a sigh of relief. It seemed that there was nothing for him to do. We can't stay here for long. Let's retreat first. At that moment, Yixian directly broke through the void and left the Fenghua clan. This Black Destruction Dragon did not sound like a good person. If that middle-aged man in white returned, it would be troublesome. Yixian used the eyes of the void several times. After leaving the Fenghua clan, he let out a sigh of relief. Although he did not know the identity of the Black Destruction Dragon, he was sure that he was not someone he could fight with his current state. However, all in all, it was a close call this time. After all, not only did he obtain the other half of the dragon scale, but he also helped the Azura Ghost Lord evolve into the World Devastation Ghostly Dragon. His strength had increased tremendously. Rib. The World Annihilation Ghostly Dragon sensed that there was another dragon scale nearby. Haha. Ribgu now has the potential to surpass Heaven Breaker. Yixian was overjoyed. This was naturally good news for him. Ribgu said that the dragon scale he sensed is north of the Fenghua clan. Let's go. Yixian immediately continued on his journey. Ribgu sensed that it was north of the Fenghua clan. The exact location was difficult to determine. Therefore, Yixian had to summon Ribgu and let him reconfirm. Yixian had to be very careful because he was afraid that he would attract the attention of the middle-aged man in white. After traveling for 2 days, Yixian arrived at a city. Then, he summoned the Black Destruction Dragon. Is it still further north? Yixian raised his eyebrows and quickly left the city, heading north. However, not long after he left, the middle-aged man in white appeared again. Strange, there's an aura similar to the Black Destruction Dragon again. Could it be the Black Destruction Dragon's bastard? The middle-aged man in white thought to himself. This time he decided to investigate thoroughly. He first suppressed everyone in the city, then forcibly checked everyone's Qiankuan rings. However, there was no result because Yixian had already left through the void. Yixian was very careful now. He only dared to summon the Black Destruction Dragon in crowded places. If he summoned it out in the wild, It would be troublesome if the middle-aged man in white sensed it. At this time, Yixian continued on his journey. Ding! Host has broken through. Currently a second-grade immortal emperor. Ding! Black Destruction Dragon Wei Zhentian, Flaming Underworld Ghostly Lord, Sky-Breaking Ape God have broken through. Currently a 6th-grade immortal emperor. During the journey, Yixian's cultivation level had broken through again. His strength had increased by quite a bit. However, when he summoned the Black Destruction Dragon again in the city, he found that the dragon scale was nearby. It's not in the city, but in a clan outside the city. Yixian squinted his eyes and immediately left through the void. He was very cautious now. When he entered the city, he set up a void tracker. He had to be careful. Then he quickly rushed to the clan. This clan was even more powerful than the Wind-Fire clan. There was a 5th-grade half-step immortal in the clan. There's no time to lose. I have to act now. Yixian squinted his eyes and summoned the Black Destruction Dragon, Old Tree, Wei Zhentian and Sky-Breaking Ape God. One word: kill. Who are you? How dare you trespass into the He clan? A loud roar resounded in the clan. At the same time, the Black Destruction Dragon accurately sensed the location of the other dragon scale. He immediately rushed over with Old Tree and Sky-Breaking Ape God. Coincidentally, the person holding the dragon scale was none other than the 5th-stage half-step Taoist master of the He clan. Netherworld Soul-Shattering Strike. Heaven-Shocking 108 Strikes. Black Destruction Dragon's Eye. Black Dragon Flame Wave. Old Tree used several trump cards and attacked the 5th-grade half-step immortal with powerful attacks. Due to the importance of this matter, Yixian had the intention to kill. After all, he had killed many people to steal their treasures before. One more time was nothing. Old Tree used several trump cards and ambushed him. The 5th-grade half-step immortal was directly crippled. In the next moment, Old Tree rushed over and took the interspatial ring. Just now, the 5th-grade half-step immortal was comprehending the dragon scale. After the incident in the clan, he put it away. Now, the dragon scale no longer belonged to him. Ding! The Black Destruction Dragon has fused with the dragon scale. The first Black Destruction Dragon scale allowed Azura Ghost Lord to evolve into the Black Destruction Dragon. The second Black Destruction Dragon scale increased the Black Destruction Dragon's strength by 1%. Chapter 1815. Got it. Let's go. Yixian immediately tore open the void and put the Old Tree and the others into the plant space before passing through. At the same time, he left Wei Zhentian in the family to see what would happen next. Sure enough, the middle-aged man in white appeared again. Too late again. What is this thing that has such a similar aura to the Black Devastator Dragon? The middle-aged man in white raised his eyebrows and investigated again, even searching their souls. This time he finally found something. He saw the figure of the World Devastator Ghostly Dragon, the Old Tree, and Heaven Breaker in the He family's memories. This thing is quite different from the Black Devastator Dragon, but its aura is indeed similar to the Black Devastator Dragon. Where did it come from? The middle-aged man in white thought to himself. He decided to search the souls of all the He family members. However, he found no clues. At this time, somewhere outside the He family, Yixian was so scared that he couldn't speak. My whereabouts can't be leaked. But this middle-aged man in white was able to arrive so quickly. What kind of cultivation level has he reached? Yixian couldn't help but gulp. He had calculated that the middle-aged man in white only took 1 minute to arrive. One had to know that it took him several days to get here. He estimated that the middle-aged man in white's strength had surpassed that of a perfected person, and was at the level of a perfected cultivator. Not to mention a perfected cultivator, even a perfected person, or even a half-step perfected person, was not someone Yixian could deal with. He couldn't be discovered by the middle-aged man in white. Fortunately, I left quickly. Otherwise, I would have been in trouble. Yixian sighed in relief. He was safe for now, but he had to be more careful in the future. The middle-aged man in white was very fast. As soon as the aura of the World Devastator Ghostly Dragon appeared, he quickly rushed over. If he was nearby, Yixian would be caught red-handed. Fortunately, Yixian had the time reversal skill, which gave him a lot of confidence. Ribbone said that the aura of a dragon scale has appeared in the northeast of the He family. As Yixian thought in his heart, He quickly left his original spot. Due to the time reversal skill, Yixian didn't need to rest to move. At most he could just go back in time. This time Yixian spent a lot of time. During this time, his cultivation level increased again, and he became a third-grade immortal emperor. A city. The city lord of this city was a 6th-rank half-step Taoist master, so Yixian reckoned that the dragon scale should be in his hands. Kill. Immediately, Old Shu and the others charged into the city lord's mansion. Then they directly targeted the aura of that rank 6 half-step Taoist master and launched their attacks. Now they had to seize every second to get the dragon scale before the middle-aged man in white arrived. The scene from that day replayed itself again. The dragon scale was indeed in the hands of the city lord. He was seriously injured by Old Tree and the others. Then his interspatial ring was snatched away. Let's go. Yixian quickly broke through the void and left with Old Tree and the others. Sure enough, the middle-aged man in white came again not long after. He searched their souls like before. It broke through again. How can it be so easy for these people to improve their cultivation level? The middle-aged man in white was shocked. It had only been a few days, but the World Annihilation Ghostly Dragon had improved from a 6th-grade Immortal Emperor to a 7th-grade Immortal Emperor. Moreover, the middle-aged man in white knew that the World Annihilation Ghostly Dragon was collecting the World Annihilation Dragon scale. Could it be that the World Annihilation Ghostly Dragon's cultivation level had something to do with the World Annihilation Dragon scale? If this goes on, there will be another World Annihilation Black Dragon in the future. No, I can't let them go on like this. Thinking of this, the middle-aged man in white threw out a ray of golden light to inform his companions. At this time, Yixian was already on his way, gloating. After the World Annihilation Ghostly Dragon had completed its advancement, it had integrated 2 World Annihilation Dragon scales, which increased its strength by 2%. Although it was only 2%, it could continue to improve in the future. After all, it was not a cultivation level. If it could obtain 10,000 World Annihilation Dragon scales, it might be able to fight opponents 1 level higher. If it grew up in the future, its combat power would be extremely strong. This time Yixian was still heading north. However, the aura of the dragon scales that the World Annihilation Ghostly Dragon sensed was much stronger than before. This time it might be several World Annihilation Dragon scales. Took Yixian a lot of time to travel. This time it took 7 days. During this time, Yixian had another breakthrough in his cultivation level, reaching the 4th-grade Immortal Emperor. Old Tree and the others were 8th-grade Immortal Emperors. As for Luo, she had reached the 9th-grade Immortal Emperor. She was only 1 step away from becoming a half-step perfected person. During these 7 days, Yixian also chose to stay in a few cities. Then he summoned the World Annihilation Ghostly Dragon to sense the location of the dragon scales. After 7 days, he arrived in front of a force called the Bone Eroding Sect. It was not weak. It had 2 7th-grade half-step perfected persons. Yixian and the others' cultivation level was not enough to be looked at in the Bone Eroding Sect. However, they had always challenged those of a higher cultivation level. If they went all out, so what if they became enemies with the entire Bone Eroding Sect? Previously, the World Annihilation Ghostly Dragon had sensed the aura of a large number of World Annihilation Dragon scales in the Bone Eroding Sect. There were at least 5 of them. 5 World Annihilation Dragon scales could increase the World Annihilation Ghostly Dragon's strength by 5%. It was very good. Kill. Immediately, Yixian ordered Old Tree and the others to kill their way in. Meanwhile, he disguised himself as a disciple and entered the Bone Eroding Sect. As they entered, the entire Bone Eroding Sect was set off a storm of blood. Treasures like the World Annihilation Dragon scales were usually obtained by those who were capable. Moreover, they should be in the hands of the upper echelons of the Bone Eroding Sect. Therefore, Yixian ordered Old Tree, the World Annihilation Ghostly Dragon, and the Sky-Breaking Godly Ape wearing the Mystic Divine Armor to find the sect leader of the Bone Eroding Sect. The sect leader of the Bone Eroding Sect was a 7th-grade half-step perfected person. Moreover, he had been studying the World Annihilation Dragon scales for a long time. He was not weak. However, his current strength was not enough to face the combined forces of Old Tree and the others. Heaven-shocking 108 strikes. Nether Soul-shattering strike. Black Dragon Flame Wave. Old Tree used several trump cards and aimed them at the sect leader of the bone-eroding sect. Coward, how dare you behave atrociously in my bone-eroding sect? You're courting death. Chapter 18:16. Rumble. The leader of the bone-eroding sect used his cultivation to defeat the combined attack of the three from the Old Tree. However, after the three sneak attacks, an aura suddenly appeared behind the leader of the bone-eroding sect. Claw of the Demon God. Luoluo, who had transformed into the sky-loathing fox, clawed at the back of the leader of the bone-eroding sect. Poof! The leader of the bone-eroding sect was pierced through and his heart was crushed. He died instantly. Then, his body and interspatial ring were taken away by Yixian. There were 6 destruction dragon scales in the interspatial ring. What a haul! Haha, awesome! Yixian grinned, then quickly broke through the void and left the bone-eroding sect. This time he obtained 6 destruction dragon scales, which increased the strength of the destruction ghost dragon by 6%. It was really good. After a while, the middle-aged man in white appeared again like before. He broke through again. It seems that I can't leave him alone. This guy broke through with the destruction dragon scales. The middle-aged man in white thought to himself. Fortunately, he had already notified the others. They should be here soon to strangle this bastard in the cradle. This time in a corner, Yixian, who was checking the interspatial ring of the leader of the bone-eroding sect, suddenly found something interesting inside. The leader of the bone-eroding sect used to have more than 6 dragon scales, but as many as 10. Yixian's heart trembled. The leader of the bone-eroding sect originally had 10 destruction dragon scales, but there were only 6 in his interspatial ring. The remaining 4 were not in the hands of the other members of the bone-eroding sect. Instead, the leader of the bone-eroding sect had given them to someone else. This person called himself the Black Dragon Envoy. Black Dragon Envoy? Yixian could not help but frown. This Black Dragon Envoy specialized in collecting destruction dragon scales and claimed to serve the Black Dragon sect. The Black Dragon sect and Black Dragon Envoy might be related to the Black Destruction Dragon that the middle-aged man in white spoke of. Normal people only need 1 destruction dragon scale. Even if they have 6, the effect won't be 6 times that of 1. It's just a small increase. If that's the case, why collect so many destruction dragon scales? Yixian was very puzzled. The bone-eroding sect had offered the 4 pieces to the Black Dragon Envoy. That was tens of thousands of years ago. Over the past tens of thousands of years, the sect leader of the bone-eroding sect had collected 6 more pieces and was preparing to present them to the Black Dragon Envoy. As for the place where they would meet, the bone-eroding sect had marked it on the map. It was in a canyon near the bone-eroding sect. Coincidentally, in a while, it would be time for the bone-eroding sect leader to exchange the dragon scale of destruction for a large amount of heavenly materials and earthly treasures. It was because of this that the bone-eroding sect could rise so quickly. Black Dragon Envoy? See if I don't rob you. Yixian narrowed his eyes slightly. This time his luck was really good. Coincidentally, the Black Dragon Envoy was coming to collect the World Annihilation Dragon Scale. At that time he could rob the Black Dragon Envoy. For the Black Dragon cult to purchase such a large amount of World Annihilation Dragon Scales, there must be a great use for it. Maybe the Black Dragon Envoy also has a lot of World Annihilation Dragon Scales? With that thought in mind, Yixian continued his journey. By the time he arrived at the place where the bone-eroding sect leader and the Black Dragon Envoy had agreed to meet, he had already reached the 5th grade Celestial Emperor realm. In fact, he was not very confident because the Black Dragon Envoy might be an enlightened master. This time he came here to use the Death Hunt token to mark the Black Dragon Envoy. This way, he would know the Black Dragon Envoy's whereabouts. He would plan his next move after he had grown stronger. The next day was the appointed time. Yixian waited quietly. Soon the next day arrived. While waiting quietly, Yixian suddenly felt a powerful aura descend. The person was dressed in black and had a mask, so he could not see his face clearly. However, Yixian was certain that the person was the Black Dragon Envoy. After all, this place was extremely barren and almost no one would come here. Yixian immediately used the Death Hunt token to mark the person in black. "Boy, what are you doing here?" The person in black rushed over and asked in surprise. "Hello, senior. This junior is tired from the journey and is resting here." Yixian answered honestly. He was only a 5th-grade immortal emperor, not even a half-step enlightened master. The person in black naturally did not take him seriously. I can't be bothered to kill you. Get lost. The person in black shouted sternly. For someone like him, unless someone offended him, he would not bother to kill. Yes, yes, yes. This junior will leave now. Yixian quickly nodded and left. However, he did not really leave. Instead, he watched from afar. This person should be an enlightened master. He's much stronger than the sect leader of the bone-eroding sect. Yixian raised an eyebrow. The sect leader of the bone-eroding sect was only a 7th-grade half-step enlightened master. This person in black was at least an enlightened master, so it would be more difficult to deal with him. However, Yixian decided to give it a try. Old Tree World Devastator Ghost Dragon. Sky-breaking Ape God. Go and meet him. Yixian said to the 3 of them. Anyway, the 4 Old Tree were all Dharma treasures. Even if they died, they could be revived. Moreover, he had the time reversal skill. If something happened, he could go back to the past. Old Tree and the other 2 immediately charged at the person in black. What? The person in black trembled violently when he sensed the aura of the World Devastator Ghost Dragon. He turned around and saw the 3 Old Tree charging at him. The aura of one of them made the blood in his body go berserk. His blood boiling meant that he was being suppressed. Otherwise, why would his blood boil? Boiling meant that he was trying to break through the suppression. No matter what it was, he would fight first and talk later. A few scumbags who aren't even half-step enlightened masters dare to cause trouble for me? The person in black immediately took out his weapon when he sensed the killing intent of the 3. With a few swings, countless sword chi swept out. The speed of the attack was shockingly fast. Old Tree and the World Devastator Ghost Dragon were instantly killed. Only Sky-breaking escaped. So strong. Although the Sky-breaking Ape God managed to escape, he still couldn't escape death. Not only that, even Wei Zhentian was beaten to a pulp. Ding! Inferno Ghostly Lord, World Devastator Ghost Dragon, Wei Zhentian, Sky-breaking Ape God are dead. System notifications rang out one after another. The sneak attack failed. However, Yixian was only testing this time. Firstly, he wanted to test the strength of the person in black. Secondly, he wanted to see his reaction. Thirdly, he wanted to lure the middle-aged man in white over. After the person in black killed Old Tree and the others, he saw the corpses of the Old Tree disintegrate into nothingness. He wanted to search their souls, but he didn't expect this to happen. Chapter 1817. TSK. That middle-aged man in white has probably already sensed this energy, right? Yixian cracked a smile as he stealthily moved away. The sect master of the bone-eroding sect had not come, but the man in black probably would not leave. Once the middle-aged man in white arrived, who knew what would happen? Sure enough, while the man in black was pondering, the middle-aged man in white really did descend just as Yixian had predicted. What? The man in black was stunned. Even though he was at the enlightened master level, he had still been suppressed to the point of being unable to move. Just how strong was this man? Where did that aura come from? The middle-aged man in white slowly asked as he looked at the Black Dragon Envoy. Well, what energy? The Black Dragon Envoy asked in shock. The energy similar to the Black Destruction Dragon. I sensed its appearance here, so I hurried over, the middle-aged man said. This junior does not know. The Black Dragon Envoy shook his head. Forget it, I'll do it myself. Without another word, the middle-aged man began to soul-search the Black Dragon Envoy. With his level, the soul search took less than a second. After that, he found out the identity of the Black Dragon Envoy, the Black Dragon Sect, and Elder Shu, the World Devastator Ghostly Dragon, and the Sky-breaking Ape God that had appeared earlier. Black Dragon Envoy, Black Dragon Cult? The middle-aged man in white was stunned. This faction didn't sound right. It was probably related to the Black Destruction Dragon. In the distance, Yixian saw that he was unable to learn anything, so he felt that he had failed this test. At this moment, the middle-aged man in white suddenly turned his head, his gaze falling on Yixian. Although Yixian's eye of insight could see very far, his cultivation was still higher. Since this middle-aged man could suppress the enlightened master-level Black Dragon Envoy, it was only natural that he could see him. By the time Yixian reacted, The middle-aged man in white was already in front of him. Once again he was unable to move. "Young man, just now did you see?" Before the middle-aged man could finish speaking, he suddenly paused. He felt that Yixian's energy was very familiar. Perhaps he had seen it somewhere before. Not good. Yixian paled and hurriedly used his trump card. Time reversal. This white-robed middle-aged man clearly wanted to search his soul. If there was one, the other party would know. Therefore, Yixian had no other choice. The next moment, he returned to the time before the Black Dragon envoy arrived. "Kid, what are you doing here?" "Greetings, senior. This junior is tired from the journey and is resting here." Yixian repeated his words and then quickly left. Of course, before that, he had already marked the Black Dragon envoy with the Death Pursuit order. However, he did not summon the World Annihilation Ghost Dragon this time, so the white-robed middle-aged man should not know about it. Yixian hid far away, looking at the target location of the death warrant. A day later, the Black Dragon envoy saw that the bone-eroding sect leader was still there, so he left immediately. And the direction they were heading for was actually the eroding bone sect. Oh no, this Black Dragon envoy is probably going to pay a visit himself. I hope he doesn't see that middle-aged man in white. Yixian raised an eyebrow. If he saw it, he would be in trouble. It was not easy for him to find a big target, so he could not be killed just like that. Yixian had no choice but to follow the Black Dragon envoy back to the bone-eroding sect. Yixian spent a lot of time on his way here, so it was natural for him to return now. During this time, he broke through to the 6th grade Immortal Emperor realm. At the same time, the old tree, the World Annihilation Ghost Dragon Wei Zhentian, and the Skybreaking Ape God finally broke through to the half-step Immortal realm. I wonder if I can fight the Black Dragon envoy now. Yixian thought to himself as he followed behind the Black Dragon envoy. In order to verify, he decided to return to the bone-eroding sect first and wait for the Black Dragon envoy's arrival. Anyway, he could use time reversal twice a day. If there were any accidents, he could go back to a few days ago. At most, he would travel for a few more days. It was better to be cautious. This way, time reversal would have a good cooldown. Whoosh! The void door closed, and Yixian returned to the vicinity of the bone-eroding sect. Fortunately, the bone-eroding sect was in a mess, but there was nothing out of the ordinary. That middle-aged man in white is very fast. If we really want to fight, we have to end it quickly. If we wait for him to arrive, we will be in trouble. Outside the bone-eroding sect, Yixian thought to himself as he looked at the target of the death warrant in the distance. Soon he saw the Black Dragon envoy again. The Black Dragon envoy also sensed Yixian's aura and was surprised. It took him 3 days to rush over. How did Yixian, who was not even a half-step immortal master, do it? Without waiting for the Black Dragon envoy to speak, Yixian directly attacked. The old tree, the World Annihilation Ghost Dragon Wei Zhentian, the Skybreaking Ape God, and Luo, who was already a half-step immortal master, all moved out. Netherworld Soul-Shattering Strike. Heaven-Shocking 108 Strikes. Black Dragon Flame Blast. Demon God's Claw. The 4 of them used their ultimate moves in an attempt to kill the Black Dragon envoy. What a powerful attack. The Black Dragon envoy was shocked. Although he had fought with Yixian and won, Yixian had used time reversal. However, Yixian had previously used the time reversal skill, so only Yixian knew about the battle between him and Yixian. However, Yixian and the others were now more than 10 times stronger than before. He didn't know if they could defeat the Black Dragon envoy. An ant-like existence dares to cause trouble for me? The Black Dragon envoy snorted coldly. Suddenly, he opened his mouth and let out a dragon's roar. These attacks were all blocked by the Black Dragon envoy's sound wave attack. None of them survived. This time, Yixian understood that they were still not a match for the Black Dragon envoy. Sure enough, the Black Dragon envoy had some skills. With no other choice, Yixian used time reversal again and returned to the past. Now, he only hoped that the Black Dragon envoy would not encounter the middle-aged man in white. Otherwise, he would be in trouble. The Black Dragon envoy arrived at the bone-eroding sect. After asking around, he found that the sect master of the bone-eroding sect had been killed. Then, a powerful figure descended and suppressed the entire sect. He also searched the souls of everyone in the bone-eroding sect. Even he couldn't do such a thing. Therefore, the Black Dragon envoy broke out in a cold sweat and hurriedly left the bone-eroding sect. In the distance, Yixian sensed for a moment. When he found that the Black Dragon envoy had left the bone-eroding sect, he was slightly relieved. At this time, he felt that the Black Dragon envoy was a fat sheep, and he was a wild wolf that had not yet grown up. As long as he grew to a certain point, he could kill the Black Dragon envoy. Then Yixian followed the Black Dragon envoy's back, constantly chasing after him. The Black Dragon envoy was very fast. However, he would occasionally stay in one place for a day or two. He probably had an agreement with some nearby forces to collect dragon scales of destruction here regularly. He wondered how many of them would be on this trip. Chapter 18:18. Soon a few days had passed. Ding! Host has broken through. You are now a 7th grade immortal emperor. Ding! Inferno Ghostly Lord, World-Destroying Ghostly Dragon Wei Zhantian, and Sky-Breaking Ape God have broken through. You are now 2nd grade half-step perfected person. Back then, they were unable to hurt the Black Dragon envoy. Now that they had broken through again, they should be able to do it, right? Yixian thought to himself. Coincidentally, the Black Dragon envoy had stopped somewhere, as if waiting for a faction to deliver him the scale of annihilation. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Yixian, who was using the immortal ascension steps, quickly chased after him. By the time he arrived, he just so happened to see 3 people trading with the Black Dragon envoy. 9th grade half-step perfected person? Easy. Yixian narrowed his eyes. With his current strength, he could definitely deal with a half-step perfected person. However, he was not sure about the Black Dragon envoy. Old Tree, let's go. Immediately, Yixian summoned Old Shu and the others through the air, then charged over together. This time Yixian had a feeling that they would succeed. Of course, if they did not succeed, he would continue to follow until he succeeded. The Black Dragon envoy, who was trading with others, trembled violently when he sensed the aura of the world-destroying ghostly dragon. He had come into contact with the world-destroying ghostly dragon before he reversed time twice. However, this was the first time he encountered the world-destroying ghostly dragon. What's that? The Black Dragon envoy was shocked, and so were the others. You are so unlucky to have encountered us. A 9th grade half-step perfected person snorted and turned to attack Old Tree and the others. Old Tree was now a 2nd grade half-step perfected person, and Lua Lua was a 3rd grade half-step perfected person. The 2 of them together were enough to kill the other party, not to mention the sky-breaking ape god and the world-destroying ghostly dragon. In an instant, the 9th grade half-step perfected person was killed by the others. He did not even have to use his ultimate move. What? The other party was shocked. A few low-level half-step perfected person had actually killed a peak half-step perfected person? How is that possible? You have some tricks up your sleeve. You're courting death. The Black Dragon emissary would definitely do it himself. After all, the 3 of them had cooperated with him to help him find the dragon scales of annihilation. If they died, how could he collect them? Almost all of the people he had found were vicious and evil. The sect master of the bone-eroding sect was the same. After all, it was the easiest way to obtain the apocalyptic dragon scale by killing others for treasures. They're finally making a move. Let's fight. From afar, Yixian gave the order through the eyes of several of the monsters. This time they were determined to capture the Black Dragon envoy. Undying Fighting Soul. Annihilation Dragon Claw. Flaming Underworld Soul-Locking Chain. Nine-Tailed Coil. The Old Tree, the World Annihilation Ghostly Dragon, and Lua Lua all unleashed their control skills. Their goal was to allow the sky-splitting Divine Ape, who was wearing the Mystic Divine Armor, to deal a fatal blow to the Black Dragon envoy. In the face of so many attacks, the Black Dragon envoy did the same as before. He opened his mouth and a sound wave attack spread out, instantly nullifying all the attacks. However, the sky-splitting Divine Ape had already turned into a streak of light and charged toward him. Heaven-startling 108 strikes. 108 strikes poured down and hit the Black Dragon envoy's shoulder. In an instant, the Black Dragon envoy was like a deflated balloon, falling from the sky. If they really had to rank their strength, Wei Zhantian was the weakest, followed by the Old Tree Lua Luo, and the World Annihilation Ghostly Dragon was the 2nd strongest. The strongest was naturally the sky-splitting Divine Ape. Moreover, The sky-splitting divine ape was wearing the mystic divine armor. Its combat strength was outstanding. Although this attack was not enough to kill the Black Dragon envoy, it was enough to severely injure him. Beat him when he's down. Kill him. Yi Xian gave the order from afar. Taking advantage of this opportunity, the group used their trump cards. Black Dragon Flame Wave. Netherworld Soul Shattering Strike. Demon God's Claw. Heaven Startling 108 Strikes. With such a powerful attack, the Black Dragon envoy would not be far from death even if he did not die. The two 9th stage half-step perfected masters in the distance were stunned. What kind of F*King world was this? A few low-stage half-step perfected masters were beating up a perfected master? After they shivered, they immediately had the intention to retreat. Run. At this time the transaction was already completed. Therefore it was fine even if they ran away. Yi Xian's target was the Black Dragon envoy. Rumble. So many attacks landed on the Black Dragon envoy. However, the Black Dragon envoy was very tough and managed to withstand them all. Through the shared vision of the group, Yi Xian saw strange black scales appear on the Black Dragon envoy's body. Those were the World Annihilation Dragon scales. What the F***? This guy merged with the World Annihilation Dragon scales? What's going on? Yi Xian was shocked. Before he could react, the Black Dragon envoy transformed into a huge black dragon. As it turned out, the Black Dragon envoy was a Zooist and a member of the Black Dragon clan. Of course, the World Annihilation Dragon scales on his body did not belong to him. They belonged to the World Annihilation Black Dragon. Now, Yi Xian somewhat understood what kind of power the Black Dragon sect was. The people of the Black Dragon sect collected dragon scales outside and merged them into their bodies in an attempt to obtain the World Annihilation Black Dragon's abilities or become stronger. Roar! The Black Dragon envoy was severely injured. Moreover, he was beaten up by a few people who were much weaker than him. His anger was already burning. However, although his strength increased after transforming into his true form, to Yi Xian and the others, he was walking right into a trap. World Annihilation Dragon Roar. At this time, the World Annihilation Ghost Dragon suddenly opened its mouth and let out another dragon roar. This move was specially used against beasts. After the Black Dragon envoy heard it, the bloodline in his body was instantly suppressed and his combat strength decreased by 30%. Moreover, this was not the main point. Wei Zhentian Myriad Beasts Diagram. After receiving Yi Xian's order, Wei Zhentian instantly changed from the Mystic God armor to the Myriad Beasts Diagram. The Myriad Beasts Diagram suppressed 50% of the combat strength of the surrounding beasts. Although Zooists could transform into humans, they were still beasts in essence. Therefore, the Myriad Beasts Diagram was also effective against the Black Dragon envoy, who had transformed into his true form. In an instant, the Black Dragon envoy's aura rapidly decreased to an extremely low level. In addition to his injuries, his combat strength was now less than 10%. It was the best opportunity to be beaten up. Heaven Startling 108 Strikes. Although he did not have the Mystic God armor, the attack power of the Heaven-breaking Ape God was still not to be underestimated. Moreover, the Black Dragon envoy's defense had decreased. Therefore, this strike directly blew up his head. Bang! The Black Dragon envoy's head exploded. The Black Dragon blood was like a volcanic eruption, and black rain fell. However, the Black Dragon envoy's dragon heart was still there. Although the Black Dragon envoy was not dead, he would not live for long. Netherfire Doppelganger. The old tree quickly burrowed into the wound, and then punched the Black Dragon envoy's dragon heart. Chapter 1819. Ding! Host's killing intent has increased. In the distance, Yi Xian heard the system's notification in his head. Then, he quickly broke through the void and brought the old tree and the others back. Then he left. This battle was really thrilling. During the battle, Yi Xian's celestial heart of dazzling speed was beating non-stop. He felt that the middle-aged man in white would be here soon. Sure enough, it was as he had expected. Just as he left, the middle-aged man in white really came. After he sensed the aura, he saw the two escaping 9th grade half-step immortals. However, these two 9th grade half-step immortals did not know anything. They only knew that the Black Dragon envoy was collecting the World Annihilation Dragon scales. At this time, Yi Xian had already escaped far away. Wow, there are 15 World Annihilation Dragon scales in there. What a haul! Yixian was overjoyed. 15 World Annihilation Dragon scales could increase the strength of the World Annihilation Ghost Dragon by 15%. Including the previous scales, it would be more than 20 scales. Then Yixian carefully searched the Black Dragon Envoy's interspatial ring. He found that other than those treasures, there was nothing else that could identify him. It seemed that he could only search his soul. However, Yixian's current cultivation level was too low. It would take a long time to search his soul. After all, he could not enter the planting space by himself. However, the old tree, the World Annihilation Ghost Dragon Luo Luo, and the others could. However, the old tree and the others' cultivation levels were too low. It was still a question whether they were qualified. Oh right, the soul-absorbing bell that Wei Zhentian transformed into has the effect of searching one's soul. At this time, Yixian's eyes suddenly lit up as he thought of this. However, the soul-absorbing bell was rarer than the sky-splitter axe. Therefore, Yixian was hesitating whether to spend one devour point to fix the soul-absorbing bell. Forget it. Let it come. I guess I will use it often in the future. Then Yixian spent one devour point to fix the soul-absorbing bell. In the future, Wei Zhentian could transform into the soul-absorbing bell anytime. Ding! Soul-absorbing bell fixed successfully. As a result, Yixian only had 2 devour points left. Wei Zhentian search his soul. Yixian ordered Wei shakes the world. The soul-sucking bell was a pretty good magic treasure. Even though Wei Zhentian was the one doing the soul-searching, Yixian could see it through his contract with Wei Zhentian. This was equivalent to him doing the soul-searching himself. Although the soul-searching time was not short, it was fortunate that it was in the planting space. 100 years in the planting space was only a day in the outside world. So that's how it is. These Black Dragon envoys belong to the Black Dragon cult, but they are only external members of the Black Dragon cult. The Black Dragon cult taught them how to fuse with the World Annihilation Dragon scale, and they collected extra World Annihilation Dragon scales for the Black Dragon cult. Yixian immediately understood. No wonder he felt that there was something wrong with the Black Dragon envoy's strength. Even so, Yixian did not want to fuse with the Dragon scale of annihilation. He was afraid that something would happen to him. However, Yixian was most concerned about this Black Dragon envoy and the other Black Dragon envoys. Moreover, there was a Black Dragon token in his interspatial ring. It was a token for someone to join the Black Dragon sect and become a peripheral envoy. If I can join the Black Dragon sect, I might be able to grasp the whereabouts of many people. It will be easier for me to do things then. However, I don't know what this person looks like. If I want to replace him, I might have to find him first. Yixian thought to himself. According to the Black Dragon envoy's memories, the person he was looking for was only a half-step perfected person. However, the Black Dragon sect did not know who he was looking for. They only had a portrait. Therefore, Yixian still had a chance. However, he had to find this half-step perfected person first. This person is the son of a friend of the Black Dragon envoy. He is the city lord of a city. He is a 9th grade half-step perfected person. Yixian quickly checked the map and found the location. He immediately rushed over. Along the way, he thought that his people's realms were too low. He was not even a half-step perfected person. If he went to the Black Dragon sect, he would definitely be discovered. Therefore, he wanted to control this 9th grade half-step perfected person. If he wanted to hurry, it would take at least a month. Fortunately, there were teleportation portals in the nearby cities. Yixian used these portals to teleport to his destination, the city lord of White Feather City. After landing, Yixian sensed the aura of a perfected person in the White Feather City Lord Mansion. It seemed to be the friend of the Black Dragon envoy. Just in case, Yixian decided to stay here for a few days. Ding! The host has broken through. The host is now an 8th grade immortal emperor. Ding! The World Devastator Ghostly Dragon, Wei Zhentian, Yanming Ghostly Lord, and Skybreaking Ape God have broken through. The host is now a 3rd grade half-step perfected person. After they broke through again, Yixian decided to take action. Let's go. Yixian came to the front of the City Lord Mansion and gave the order. This time, the World Devastator Ghostly Dragon was not needed. In an instant, the old tree Luo Luo and Skybreaking Ape God moved out. With lightning speed, They captured the city lord of White Feather City and his father. The two of them were forcefully brought into White Feather City by Yi Xian. After that, they were forced into the planting space by threats. The plant dimension was very slow, so Yi Xian had plenty of time to torture them. In the end, the two of them had no choice but to become Yi Xian's puppets. Now that the matter of the people is settled, the next step is to go to a branch of the Black Dragon sect. Yi Xian thought to himself. This branch of the Black Dragon sect could be reached directly through White Feather City's teleportation portal. However, before that, Yi Xian used the City Lord of White Feather City and his father as a trump card to ransack the City Lord mansion. After that, he left. The Black Dragon sect was spread all over the world. In this branch, there were only a few Black Dragon envoys, but they were all at the perfected person level. Yi Xian asked the City Lord of White Feather City to take the order of the Black Dragon envoy and enter the Black Dragon sect's branch. Of course, before that, Wei Zhentian had turned into a hairpin. Just like that, the City Lord of White Feather City naturally became a Black Dragon envoy. At the same time, he came into contact with other Black Dragon envoys. Next, it was time for Yi Xian to use the death warrant to mark these people. The Black Dragon sect's branch was very hidden, but Yi Xian already knew about it. He was guarding there and marked 5 targets of the death warrant, including one of the branch lords. This branch lord must have a connection with the higher-ups. I'll deal with him later. Yi Xian thought to himself. Chapter 1820. These 4 Black Dragon ambassadors were all rank 1 true masters. Moreover, they were all Zuyoists who had fused with 1 to 3 dragon scales. Their strength was much stronger than ordinary people. As for the branch leader, he was a rank 2 true master. No one knew how many dragon scales he had fused with, but he was very strong. Yi Xian actually had the strength to destroy this branch now. However, he didn't want to expose himself, so he had to do it secretly. Soon, one of the Black Dragon ambassadors left the branch, preparing to return to his faction to cultivate. It would take time for people to collect the world-destroying dragon scales. They would only leave once in a while. After all, the number of world-destroying dragon scales would only decrease. Yi Xian followed this Black Dragon ambassador out, preparing to attack after he was far away. During this time, he had finally reached rank 9 Immortal Emperor. Old Tree, world-destroying Ghost Dragon, Wei Zhentian, and the sky-breaking Divine Ape had also reached rank 4 half-true masters. This time, he didn't need to follow them anymore. He could just attack. Old Tree Luoluo, go. Yi Xian said to the two. A mere rank 1 true master didn't need the world-destroying Ghost Dragon or the sky-breaking Divine Ape. A rank 5 half-true master like Luoluo was enough. Luoluo, who had transformed into her true form, and Old Tree, who had put on the Mystic God armor, caught up with the Black Dragon ambassador in an instant. Netherworld soul-shattering strike. Claw of the Demon God. Old Tree and Luoluo attacked with all their strength, quickly finishing off this Black Dragon ambassador. As expected, this Black Dragon ambassador only had 2 world-destroying dragon scales in his interspatial ring. He was preparing to fuse with them himself. He must have given the rest to the branch leader. Yi Xian thought to himself. However, he didn't lose anything this time. After all, it was a free win. Since he had already broken through, the next step would be to destroy this Black Dragon sect branch. Whoosh! Yi Xian immediately broke through the void and returned. In the next moment, Wei Zhentian put on the sky-breaking Divine Ape. Even without the Mystic Divine armor, the sky-breaking Divine Ape's combat power was much stronger than Luoluo's. If he put on the Mystic Divine armor, even if Old Shu Luoluo and the World Annihilation Ghostly Dragon worked together, they would not be his match. Kill them all, leave no one alive. After Yi Xian gave the order, Old Tree and the others charged in. Their target was the 3 Black Dragon ambassadors and the branch leader. Bang! 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 A series of shocking explosions echoed in the city. The sneak attack of Old Tree and the others instantly killed the 3 Black Dragon envoys. Damn it, have we been exposed? The expression of the rank 2 true master of the Black Dragon cult's branch changed. Before he could transform, 108 stick shadows fell on him. Boom! This time, the Black Dragon Society's branch leader's head and heart exploded, and he died instantly. After his death, the Old Tree quickly swept over and collected the corpse and the interspatial ring. Then it tore open the void and left. This time, the world devastator ghostly dragon did not attack. Therefore, Yixian was not worried that the middle-aged man in white would come after him. After that, Yixian did not care about the others. He tore open the void and left. Now that he had enough cultivation resources to break through, he did not have to worry about anything else. He focused on collecting the world devastator dragon scales. However, the harvest this time was the largest in Yixian's history. There were a total of 30 world devastator dragon scales in the branch leader's interspatial ring. Moreover, there was even a pinky-sized world devastator dragon bone. A world devastator dragon bone could increase one's strength by at least 10%. This was equivalent to 10 world devastator dragon scales. Haha Ribs, you're having a great time. Yixian did not say anything. He directly handed the world devastator ghostly dragon scales and dragon bones to let it absorb them all. Including the previous ones, the world devastator ghostly dragon strength had increased by nearly 70%. If this continued, it would not be a problem to increase it by 100% or even 1000%. From now on, Yixian would have to rely on the world devastator ghostly dragon for a living. Speaking of which, after the branch leader died, his soul was also searched by the soul-sucking bell. The branches of the Black Dragon sect were all promoted one level at a time. They did not know the locations of the branches of the same level, but they knew the locations of the higher-level branches. The branch leader of the higher-level branch was a 5th-stage True Master. He was not weak and had a large number of Black Dragon envoys under his command. Therefore, Yixian had to be fully prepared before he went there. After a while, the world devastator ghostly dragon strength will probably catch up to the sky-breaking ape god. When that time comes, it will be able to kill anyone in its way. Yixian thought to himself and continued on his way. Their next destination was a faction called the Green Feather Sect. Their leader was the branch leader of the Black Dragon sect. Although they could use the teleportation formation, some parts of the journey still required them to fly. During this time, Yixian finally broke through to the half-step True Master realm. As for the old tree and the others, they were 5th-stage True Masters. The second immortal grade bloodline can be exchanged? At this moment, Yixian raised his eyebrows as he noticed this change. The second immortal grade bloodline required 4 devour points to exchange. However, Yixian only had 2 devour points at the moment. Therefore, he could not exchange for it. What a tragedy! I can only hope that I can trigger the Trial Tower's refresh mission. Yixian sighed helplessly. As long as the Trial Tower refreshed, he would be able to reach the 9th floor again and obtain 9 devour points. At that time, the second immortal grade bloodline could be unlocked. However, Yixian only had 2 devour points at the moment. Therefore, he did not consider this problem for the time being. After a few days, he finally arrived at the Green Feather Sect. However, with his current strength, it would not be easy for him to destroy the Green Feather Sect. However, just as he was feeling surprised, at this moment, Yixian raised his eyebrows as he saw puppets walking out of the Green Feather Sect. Why are these puppets so similar to the ones that Spiritual Heart Enlightened Master gave me? Yixian trembled. Could it be that the Green Feather Sect was related to Spiritual Heart Enlightened Master? Although the previous 100 puppets were strong, they were only at the level of a first-grade half-step Enlightened Master. However, the current green puppets were at least at the level of a 5th-grade half-step Enlightened Master. If 100 of them were to be added together, they would be able to challenge several realms higher. This Green Feather Sect was not simple. Yixian recalled that Spiritual Heart Enlightened Master had said that as long as he could find it, Spiritual Heart Enlightened Master would accept him as his disciple. Of course, this was under the condition that Yixian learned the 100 machine drill. If Spiritual Heart Enlightened Master was related to the Green Feather Sect, then he could sneak in and take a look. However, if they were related, then it would be difficult for him to take action. No matter what, Yixian had to take a look. After all, Spiritual Heart Enlightened Master had contributed to his arrival in the Holy World. At this moment, Yixian approached the Green Feather Sect. Sir, is there a problem? Chapter 1821. Excuse me, is Daoist Spirit Heart here? Yixian asked directly. He didn't ask if there was a person called Daoist Spirit Heart in the Blue Feather Sect. The green-clothed disciple glanced at Yixian. The latter was only a half-step Taoist master, so in his eyes, he was like an ant. Why are you looking for the Vice Sect Master? The green-clothed disciple asked impatiently. After all, Yixian was only a half-step Taoist master. Yet he wanted to look for the vice sect master. Didn't he know that they were of the same level? Is it really here? Hearing this, Yixian was slightly surprised. Combined with the puppet, he should be able to confirm that this Taoist spirit heart was the one he was looking for. It's like this. Taoist spirit heart left behind a ruin outside. Yixian began to explain. But before he could finish, the green-clothed disciple interrupted. Stop, I understand. Then with a wave of his hand, 100 puppets appeared. He said to Yixian, if you want to see the vice sect master, you have to use the 100 machine drill. That's easy. Yixian grinned. With a thought, the 100 puppets moved in the next moment and formed various battle formations. Okay, you pass. The green-clothed disciple nodded. Wait here, I'll go in and report. Now, Yixian was 100% sure that Taoist spirit heart was in the blue feather sect. However, he wasn't too interested in becoming Taoist spirit heart's disciple. Even if he used the 100 machine drill, he would only be able to face a half-step Taoist master of the 3rd or 4th stage. However, Yixian's strength was enough to face a half-step Taoist master of the 7th stage. He didn't need these things. After a while, the disciple returned with another person. It was a middle-aged man with great strength. He was at least a 2nd stage Taoist master. Is it him? The middle-aged man asked. Yes. The disciple nodded. All right, show me the drill of 100 machines again. The middle-aged man turned his head and said to Yixian. Although Yixian did not know who this middle-aged man was, he still did as he was told. After the middle-aged man confirmed, he nodded slightly and said, yes, it is indeed the 100 machine drill. Come with me. Yes. Yixian responded and immediately followed. My name is Ling Muyun, the 7th disciple of Spiritual Heart Reverend. However, my master is in seclusion now, so I can only accept it on behalf of him. After Ling Muyun finished speaking, he asked, what's your name? Where did you see Spiritual Heart Venerable? My name is Yixian. Yixian replied. However, when he reported the location, Ling Muyun shuddered and said, our clan was in the vicinity previously. Family. Upon hearing this, it was Yixian's turn to be shocked. He suddenly remembered Ling Muyun's surname and immediately asked, Senior brother, are you from the Ling family's escort agency? What? Ling Muyun stopped in his tracks and asked in shock. You know, I accidentally entered Spiritual Heart Reverend's relic and met Ling Kai there. However, when he returned, the Ling family's escort agency had already moved. Yixian said slowly. He did not expect Ling Muyun to be from the Ling family. At this moment, he recalled that Spiritual Heart Reverend said that Ling Kai was the descendant of his old friend. Then, it made sense that the Ling family had moved to the Green Feather sect. Ling Kai. That's my nephew. Where is he now? Ling Muyun asked in surprise. He's still at the same place, but there's a Lin family's escort agency. It was established by Lin Miao. Yixian replied. The Lin family's escort agency? I thought that group of people had already disbanded. I didn't expect them to still be there. Ling Muyun was quite shocked. Yixian was the same. He did not expect the Ling family to improve so quickly after moving away. One had to know that the strongest person in the Ling family's escort agency was only a first-grade half-step perfected person. But now they had reached the level of a perfected person. It seemed that they were riding on Spiritual Heart Reverend's coattails. However, why did the Ling family leave in such a hurry back then? And why did they only take away their own clansmen and not outsiders? What was the reason? Yixian did not want to think too much about it and decided to observe the situation first. Is Ling Kai still in the Lin family's escort agency? I'll send someone to pick him up later. Ling Muyun said. This time it was really unexpected. He did not expect to meet someone from the Ling family in the Green Feather sect. However, this place was very far away from the Lin family's escort agency. After all, Yixian had arrived by teleportation several times. It was no wonder that the Lin family's escort agency could not find him. Then Ling Muyun brought Yixian to a large hall and accepted Yixian as his disciple on behalf of his master, Spiritual Heart Reverend. Yixian did not care about this. He thought that after becoming Spiritual Heart Reverend's disciple, He might be able to investigate some things. Master has a total of 10 disciples. I'm the 7th and you're the 10th. However, Master is now in seclusion and has not come out for 10,000 years. When he comes out, you can give him the formal apprenticeship ceremony. Ling Muyan said to Yixian. Yes, 7th senior brother. Yixian nodded. He estimated that he would not be able to see spiritual heart reverend. After all, he had been in seclusion for 10,000 years. He was only going to stay for a few days. Then, Ling Muyan brought Yixian to meet the other members of the Ling family, such as Ling Kai's father and grandfather. When everyone heard the news about Ling Kai, they were very happy. They had moved quickly because they were afraid of being wiped out. That was why they disbanded the Ling family's escort agency. At that time, many of the Ling family's disciples were still outside, including Ling Kai. They did not know about this. Yixian looked at this group of people and could not help but feel puzzled. Why did the Ling family move back then? However, this question did not have much to do with him. What he cared about now was how to get in touch with the Black Dragon Society's branch leader. From the memories of the previous branch leader, he knew that every time he sent the dragon scale to the designated location in the Green Feather sect, someone would take it away. This branch leader was the sect master of the Green Feather sect. He was the one who collected the dragon scale of annihilation. However, the Ling family and Spiritual Heart Reverend were both in the Green Feather sect. Furthermore, Spiritual Heart Reverend was the vice sect master, and had a close relationship with him. Therefore, Yixian was in a dilemma. Right, I can first kill the Green Feather sect's sect master and then search his soul. Finally, I can use the time reversal skill. This way, the memories of others will disappear, but mine won't. At this time, Yixian's eyes suddenly lit up as he thought of this. Time reversal could be used like this. This is going to be fun. In that case, he could first kill the Ling family's people and then search their souls. Finally, he could use the time reversal skill to return to the time before he joined the Green Feather sect. This way, he would know why the Ling family moved. However, at this time, Patriarch, this is bad.